In 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. It was a courageous thing, but someone was already here. In 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. It was a courageous thing to do, but someone was already here.
How about that one? Do you remember that one? Do you have any clue?
I've never heard I've heard the 1492 Columbus sailed the ocean blue, but I've never heard that somebody was always here.
It was a courageous thing to do, but someone was already here.
I don't remember that line.
Well,
it's probably always been there.
We're talking about the Indians.
I know what they're talking about, but I remember singing the 1492 Columbus sailed the ocean blue in school.
And you stopped.
Well, I don't ever remember us singing the other two lines.
No, nobody. The only reason you're saying it is so you wouldn't remember it when you got that history test and said, what year did Columbus sail across the ocean?
No, we did it in music class. I vividly remember being in my music class. Yes.
And that's the only thing you sang in 1492?
Columbus sailed the ocean blue.
And that's all?
That's all I remember. I don't remember those other lines.
When you're in course in school, it's the same songs every kid sings at every school.
Yeah.
You'll never walk alone.
Yeah,
think about all that other stuff.
Paul Bunyan song, which I could not. A Johnny Appleseed song.
God Bless America. My Country 'Tis a Tea. Every school sings the same songs.
Yeah. But I don't remember those last two lines. Oh, wow. But maybe we did sing them. I just don't remember.
More than that, because there's a whole lot more to it.
I can actually say we never sung that.
I just remember the 1492 Columbus sailed the ocean blue. I remember that.
Yeah, I remember that, but
I don't remember the other part.
We didn't sing that, though.
Oh, I'm with you on that. I don't think so.
I'm so sorry. But,
maybe our school's just cutting back. I don't know.
This is an archaic music vault.
Well, between that and those recorder flute things, whatever they are, that I don't know. These music teachers need medals for having to deal with it. Mm-hmm. Those like plastic,
like kazoos
or clarinets or whatever, and the kids have to take them home. Oh, my mother used to rage about that. Yeah, I can imagine 30 kids in a classroom with those plastic clarinets or whatever they are. They're called recorders.
Remember the first time that song was sung?
This one?
Uh-huh.
No.
Hey, on this date, the year was 1493. It's January 9th.
Oh, yeah.
When Christopher sailed near what is now the Dominican Republic.
Sure. They didn't sing that song then.
Yeah. Kelly. Yeah, we remember
this. I got to make up, okay?
I know you were there, Rayford, but
I was there.
Yeah.
Well, he recorded in his ship's journal that day, and on the previous day, he saw 3 mermaids.
Mermaids?
He saw 3 mermaids.
He was probably hallucinating from whatever he was drinking.
Well, they sailed with things that did not spoil, like rum.
Well, that was the official drink for pirates. Okay. Yeah.
Well, he saw 3 mermaids, but turns out to be they were really manatees. You got to be drunk to mistake a manatee for a mermaid.
I love some manatees, don't get me wrong, but they do not look like mermaids. Not at all.
It described them as not half as beautiful as they are painted.
Oh, my. I want some of that rum. What's he drinking?
6 months, probably 151. 6 months earlier, Columbus set off from Spain across the Atlantic Ocean with the Nina, the Pinta, and the
Santa Maria.
Okay, just checking. I remember that. Just checking.
That was drilled in my brain in class. First grade, no less.
Hoping to find a western trade route to Asia, instead his voyage, the first of 4 he would take, led him to the Americas or the New World. He thought he could find a place to get to Asia so he could get all of it, those herbs and stuff free, cheaper, instead of making the long trip across country.
Huh.
He went around the world, or not quite, but he went halfway around the world. So anyway, mermaids, those were supposedly mythical half-female, half-fish creatures, have existed in the seafaring lure at least since the time of the ancient Greeks. Theo, you ever seen a mermaid? Typically depicted as having a woman's head and a torso, a fish tail instead of legs, and holding a mirror and a comb. How do you use a mirror and a comb underwater? Would that just not be kind of confusing?
It's all mythical. What difference? They can do it. Mermaids do it. They cook underwater. They sleep underwater.
They live in the ocean, and according to some legends can take on a human shape and marry mortal men. Then what happens?
Then they become a Betty Crocker and a wife. And
Good morning, I'm Rayford Brown.
I'm Kelly Knapp.
And I'm Lee Barrows.
And this is going to be one of them, isn't it?
It's going to be
One
another
of
day.
them days, y'all.
Yesterday was crazy enough.
Oh, it was great. Our number, if y'all want to join the mayhem this morning, is 910
Please call.
333 0139 910 333 0139. We got a little bit of time here. We've got a couple of folks we're going to be chatting with this
Yes.
morning. Chris Miller, of course,
Yes, our
the
favorite sports guy.
the sports editor of the Jacksonville Daily News. He's going to join us this morning and tell us what's cooking in the world of local sports.
Yeah, I
local
understand
sports,
that,
local and some more local sports.
Southwest has a new football coach, so I want to ask him about that. I think I heard that right. They
A
have
new
hired
football
a new,
coach.
Yeah. So I
Is
want
it-
to ask him
is
about
it Chris?
that. No,
Yeah, he wouldn't go against his alma mater anyway, would he?
no.
I didn't think so. He's a White Oak kid.
Yes.
And then we've also got the chief, literally the chief,
Fire chief
the fire chief
for City
from
of Jacksonville.
Jacksonville Fire Department, Edward Tallman. They call him T.
Yes, T.
Edward T. Tallman.
Yeah, I wonder if he likes to golf because the T is Tee. Wonder if he's a golfer. Yeah. We'll have to ask.
The T is for Tallman, likely.
No, it's spelled Tee. Why not just T?
Well, he spelled E.
We're gonna ask him.
Forget about it. I've known several people that
Yes.
they were just. There's a gentleman around here. His name was everybody knew him as T. Vitt. And that wasn't his real name, of course, but it wasn't spelled Tee. It was just T.
Right. That's the point I'm making.
Except when somebody like me spelled it. And his son was,
We're going to see if he likes
his
to
son was,
visit.
which I also called T.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Yeah. Well,
I think he's from around here, though. I mean,
he's a local boy.
yeah, he's local.
So,
So.
And I got to ask him, how local is he? Because I might know his sister. Well, they would be his sisters. But there's, great
Well,
aunts or
he's the
something.
third,
maybe.
so it seems like his father didn't he? What did he do?
Oh, there was also Tallman Oldsmobile there.
Yeah,
for a
so
while.
I
And
was
also-
thinking
I don't
cars.
Know, I don't know which one he is. So we will find out anyway. We will get
Yes,
to the
we
bottom
will.
of this one.
We're going
The
to
fires, and
investigate.
speaking of fires, the fires
Yeah.
out there in Los Angeles are still up and burning.
Yes.
Another fire broke out in the hills above Hollywood Boulevard
Hollywood
yesterday,
Hills, yes.
further burdening overwhelmed firefighters who already are battling multiple fires throughout LA. And then last night they were calling, we ain't got no water.
Yes.
Yeah, I know.
I
was watching
watched
that
that
yesterday. Yeah.
until about 2 this morning.
Whoops. That's a massive problem. They've, had one fatality so far.
5 now.
5 now.
It's 5 now.
Wow.
Last night they had up to 4 last count.
Were
Firemen.
these firefighters or were these people that just didn't leave?
These were people that didn't leave, but they had up to like 4 firefighters last night that had injuries, burns, but minor burns, so to say.
Yeah.
But they have, I think they said over 100 people that have got injuries,
Mhm.
burns and stuff, people, residents that live there. So
There's no
it's
such thing as a
tragic.
minor burn.
In my
on-
opinion, there's
On
not.
Christmas night, I was steaming some stuff, like couple of lobsters, and put my hand over the little exhaust port on the.
That will
on the-
burn.
and it got a little quick blast. And
Mhm.
that thing is still, that was Christmas. And that is still irritating.
Oh, I imagine
burned.
so.
So there's no such thing as a minor burn.
No, they all hurt.
Let's see, what did they call them? The Palisades fire, the Eaton fire, the Hearst fire, the Lydia fire, and the Sunset fire.
Mhm.
Sunset fire just kind of under control, they say right now.
I think
As of
there's a new
yesterday.
one I was watching before I came in this morning.
Oh,
There's-
great.
I think
Was it
there's another
Eaton
one.
or something like that? Yesterday, they had a charter school burned down.
Mm.
Aldi's burned down. They had, let me see, the charter school, Aldi's, and then there was something else. Oh, it was like a 4-story apartment building.
Well, in Pacific Palisades, all the schools burned. The middle school,
Yeah.
the high school,
Really?
the elementary.
There's
They're
nothing
there's
left in
nothing.
there.
I mean, they burned every school they had, and the Bank of America, the First Citizens Bank,
My
just
goodness.
gone. One whole 180 mobile home community, every mobile home wiped out. And
Oh,
that's
yeah.
in Pacific Palisades, right across the street from the ocean. only thing standing was the American flag.
Oh, wow. Well,
And that was
Yes.
a very moving
that should tell
scene.
you
I saw
something,
that.
y'all.
Yeah,
I
the
saw
news
that.
media
Yes,
Should be a
that
sign,
was.
y'all.
Yeah.
That is your sign.
That's what one of
Yes.
the residents who was there came back to look. I mean, there's nothing. I mean, the news media was there. There's not a single mobile home in that whole entire park survived. It's just all rubble. And they said this shows the resilience of the United States of America and
Wow.
of our people here. Yeah, it was very moving.
Well, they're showing aerial views last night of just nothing but rubble. Nothing.
Yeah.
But what is so crazy to me is you'll see one house that was reduced to rubble, but the house next to it was not even touched.
Well,
It's crazy.
flash fires can do weird things.
Yes.
Mobile homes. They had one time. Oh God, I remember one night there, Marine Boulevard and Johnson Boulevard, 17 and 24, basically, right?
Right.
There used to be a little mobile home sales lot right there. You probably remember it.
Right. Yes.
And one night,
I remember that.
late
yes.
at night, the winds were blowing. I mean, they were blowing pretty good, and I don't know what started the fire. Don't recall, whatever. But one of them had a small fire in it, and unfortunately, it was upwind, and it engulfed all of the mobile homes for sale
Yeah.
within minutes. And they weren't like side by side; they were adjacent to each other. But
All it takes is those
10 or
embers
15,
traveling.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it's not embers. That were just pure flames
Yeah.
laying flat across the thing. I watched that stuff burn. That was
What was so bad when they get new reports of houses on fire or whatever. And I listened to Broadcastify last night. That was on that live feed that I was watching.
you're listening to the scanner, basically.
Yes, and it's the fire department and all the people there. But they said we're out of water.
Yeah.
We're out of water. We
I mean,
can't do anything.
What
Let
do
it
we do
burn.
now?
And what was the other thing was, actor James Woods, who's a very outspoken opponent of the Democrats and Joe Biden. I mean, it's been
Yes.
well known. Well, his house burned,
Yeah.
Yes, it
and
did.
they were interviewing him on Fox News, and some professor who is a self-professed ultra liberal, I don't know what that would be, but wrote on X that they felt like the burning of his house was karma. How evil and vile are
There's a
you?
lot of evil
There's
stuff
some
coming
evil,
out.
vile
Well, and
humans.
this is a professor. This
Yes.
was just some kook off the.
Yeah.
This was a kooky professor.
Yes.
Okay.
A very,
Gotcha.
very self-proclaimed liberal that did not like his political views and said this was karma. I mean, you have got to be some kind of evil to make a statement. This isn't about politics. These are human beings.
So I wonder how many of that 180 mobile homes were occupied by,
Right.
Democrats.
I mean, what is wrong with people?
Well,
If you did that, you would just say, okay, well then there's 180 mobile homes that out here, 98% of them were occupied by Democrats. So is that karma? Yeah, that'd be stupid.
I just cannot fathom the
what
amount
do
of hate
what do these
people have in their
professors smoke
hearts.
on the West Coast? You've lived there.
I know.
Uh-huh.
It wasn't as bad. I mean, it was bad when I lived there, but I would know. I mean, I have friends that live there now. They hate it, but I mean, I know.
Well, you were
Everybody else
talking
is.
I know.
about James Woods
Yeah.
because I follow him on X since
Yeah.
it started, and they had evacuated early.
Yeah.
But he said yesterday he started getting dings on his cell phone from his home security
did.
system for smoke.
They were
fire.
and it was ding in what room? He said
Yes.
him and his wife were literally following the fire
Oh,
through
Lord.
their house on their. It's
Could you
very sad.
imagine? Could you imagine?
And there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
And for
Turn your
that,
phone off.
I mean, how? And he said
No,
a
that's
neighbor
not
had
enough.
stayed and was
Yes.
trying to hose his house down at first, and he said, "I hope my neighbor finally left." He's, you know,
There's hose is not going to keep it from
no,
burning.
and I mean, but can you imagine? I mean, to get those dings on your phone, that's horrific.
They were showing people out there with a water hose, like trying to put fires
Yeah,
out in the
it's-
neighbor's yard from coming into theirs.
Yeah,
And this
some of
one
that.
guy, he was trying. He finally just threw the hose down. He said, "Run." And he
Yeah.
went in and told his partner, "We're getting out now.
Let's go.
Load up."
And
There's no stopping.
Move
And
it,
I'll
move
tell
it,
you,
move
one
it.
of the most disturbing videos I have seen, Lee, and I guarantee you've seen this. TMZ posted it of those men in their golden retriever in their house,
Really?
and they have glass walls, and the flames
Yes.
are up against the house.
I saw
They were
that.
trapped. Like, I hope and pray these men and that dog got out of
Oh,
that
for
house.
heaven's sake.
You need to see this video. It is
Folks,
the most
when you are told to
disturbing.
evacuate,
Yeah.
when you're told a mess is coming, when you're watching it on TV and like, Okay, that's not far away now. Oh, it's a lot closer now. You be begone.
They had 100-mile-an-hour winds. I mean,
Uh-huh.
this is like a fire wind. I don't know what
Yes.
else I would call it.
Well,
And
they
that
had-
video is bothersome. It has
Well,
bugged me
a lot
since
of
I
times-
saw it.
I started watching that and I turned it because
I
I was
want to
like,
know if I hope and
but
pray
how
they got out of the house.
freaky to be standing there with all that glass from
It's just glass
ceiling
walls.
to
You know
and
what's
all
gonna
you
go
see
down,
the
right?
floor and the
Yes.
fire coming right
It's
out.
right at
Nothing
'em.
but flames.
I'll have to show you this video, Ray.
It's
It
horrific.
is awful. It is an
They-
awful video.
Yeah, there are, and fires will generate wind in themselves
Yes.
because they're so hot, and then they're actually meeting cooler air, so that generates wind.
Yeah.
So it's a self-perpetuating mess. And about the only thing they can do is hopefully they can get enough fire retardant dropped. But
They haven't been able to do
in
any
the
fire
heavy,
retardant
in
because
the
of the
heavy
winds.
winds, it's a problem.
Yeah.
You can't fly low level even with C-130s very long.
No.
Right. Well, the National Weather Service had put out
And too much
warnings
smoke.
prior to all this starting. But what gets me, and like Kelly said, the people that watch these fires all in the neighborhood, and they insist on staying home.
No.
You
What are you
know,
going to do?
well, do you know that fire is just somebody's in the house, let's skip that house and go to the next one and burn it down? That's not how it works.
Mhm.
And last night they were showing this one woman who had refused to leave, and she finally decided she was going to leave, and she's standing out there with a rooster in her jacket, holding a rooster. She had the rest of the chickens in her car, but yet she was there doing an interview on the news. Why do an interview? Get in your car and get out.
Well, why are the news people up there?
But the thing about it is, and that's
Speak
another
on.
thing that disturbs me so bad, is I know it's news, but you've got news media that's out there interviewing somebody who has just lost everything.
Well, that makes the best crying video you've ever seen.
You know, well, I don't want to.
And the first question out of the mouth, how do you feel? How do you feel about your house burning down right now?
Yeah.
I would slap one of my reporters if they ever did that.
There
I
was a
mean, right there
man
on TV.
sitting on what was left of the front steps going up to his yard, house completely burnt, nothing but ashes. And they kept on, well, what are you going to do? How do you feel? And
Well, how do you think they feel?
and
I
the
mean,
man had a great big, air mask on and a hat and everything and the goggles. So you couldn't really see his face, but I'd be going like, get the, you know what,
Well,
out
let
of
me show
my
you how I
face.
feel.
Right. It's just horrendous that they think that they have to show the pain and the agony of what these people are going through. We know it's pain and agony. We know it's crushed their souls. But really, come on, news media, quit with the stories.
Yep.
It's just
I mean,
horrendous.
Well,
that you saw
yeah.
that, right?
Yeah. Never
the dog, I
never let any tragedy go to waste.
And
Right.
on this video, and I turned the volume off, but you can hear the panic in the one, and
Sure.
even the dog is whining.
I've
Like,
already been in the car and gone. I'm
I
sorry.
can't. That video is so bothersome
wanna
to
watch
me.
it.
My
I
dogs
just-
are going to come first. My
Oh, I
dogs
have
and
them
cat.
all. And yesterday they showed those people with the horses walking them
Yes,
down. Did you see
and
that?
embers hitting,
Yeah.
coming down and hitting the horses and
Yeah.
the people.
And they were
Turn
just
the
walking
horses
them.
loose. They will find safety.
Well, they said these are their pets.
I don't
think,
care.
but
Turn them loose
I
for
hear
their
you.
sake.
I hear you.
I
I'd
couldn't
have,
do it.
You can round them up.
I don't
later.
think I could turn them loose. I'd have
No.
to. I'd be running. It would.
Kelly and I'd be running with our
I'd
alpacas.
have all my animals there. Yeah, I might not save anything.
Head
else.
for the
I have
ocean.
some photos of my kids and like birth certificates. Because other than that, my animals are coming. Bottom
Right.
line.
The Hollywood Walk of Fame bustling the streets around the Chinese theater, the TCL Chinese Theater, and Madame Tussauds were packed with stop and go traffic as sirens blared and low flying helicopters flew overhead to dump water on the flames only a mile away
Yeah.
Yes.
from the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's
Well, they sent
bad.
out a mandatory evacuation for Hollywood Hills last night.
Yep.
And the streets going, out of the areas were just lined up at a standstill.
They
Going
had
into
to
the
abandon
city.
the cars. They
Yes.
had to take bulldozers and literally push them out of the way to get the fire trucks.
Well, can you blame the people?
No.
though?
But I
Back in
mean,
the
when you're
70s, there
stuck-
was a major fire here up in the Deppy area, the Hoffman Forest. It burned for days and days and days, and had one firefighter killed. One of the forest rangers, I think, was killed. Forest firefighters. They were here and fighting and fighting and fighting, and the guy was in a truck, and the wind changed. When the fire is
Wow.
going in one direction, wind fed, and all of a sudden the wind goes from that direction to a 180 and it comes right back at you, you're toast. You just don't have a lot of choice.
Yeah.
So they got all sorts of things now, but that was a tragic day.
Well, it was disheartening to listen to the fire traffic on the radio. You know, we have no water, and then they would get a call where somebody wanted to be evacuated from their house, and they were trapped, and the fire was reaching their house, and it just is horrible. It's horrible.
So death toll is up to 5.
Yes, as last night it was 5. Yes,
Confirmed.
they said 5.
They don't know
last
how
night.
many there are dead.
No, and I imagine once they start sorting through the rubble, they're probably going to find things.
So you know, I don't want to call us lucky, but we're in a different situation here.
Yes,
We don't have that kind of area that we can have such wildfires. We don't think. We hope.
so we hope not.
But I mean, within a mile of Hollywood Walk of Fame, wow, it could happen anywhere.
And there was quite a few celebrities, like Kelly brought up James Wood, Derek Haug. He's on A Star with Dancing with the Stars. Him and his wife had to evacuate, and I don't know whether their home was torched or not. I haven't seen anything on
there's
it.
a list.
Yeah,
now
but there is
celebrities.
quite a
lot
few
of celebrities have
celebrities.
lost their homes.
Well, around these parts, all eyes are remaining on the weather, not because of any fires, but because
we don't know.
we don't know. Some of you are wishing for nasty snow. The sane among us would be happy with 65 degrees and sunshine.
Yeah.
A low pressure system will impact the area Friday night into Saturday that may bring wintry precipitation across portions of this area. Now, this portion of this area is a big, wide area of a bunch of counties. So we've had snow in Richlands and we've had nothing in Jacksonville. So don't get your hopes up if you're praying for snow. Okay, regardless of what happens, you may get it, you may not get it. Of course, they don't know yet. We just don't know. The marine outlook for today: a small craft advisory remains in effect through tonight. Northwesterly winds 20 to 25 knots, diminishing to 15 to 20 in the afternoon. Gust up at 30. Seas 3 to 5 feet, 2 to 3 near shore. Sounds and rivers remain rough, diminishing to choppy this afternoon. Tomorrow, northerly winds 10 to 15 knots, becoming northwesterly 5 to 10 in the afternoon. Seas 2 to 3 near shore. They're about 2 feet in the morning. Then they're going to come down to 1 foot in the afternoon. Tomorrow afternoon would be your day. Sounds and rivers a moderate chop, diminishing to a light chop in the afternoon. Winds are going to return on Saturday. I just can't imagine you get a day of calm winds, and then westerly winds 20 to 25 knots, gust of 40, seas 5 to 7 feet, building to 6 to 9 in the afternoon. Near shore, seas 4 to 6 feet. Sounds and rivers rough.
Well, today, sunny, high near 40. I love how it says near. So anywhere between 0 and 40, we may have, warmth today. The winds will be from the northwest at 8 to 14 mile an hour. It's kind of breezy with 22 mile an hour gusts. Tonight, clear, very cold, low of 19. Tomorrow, increasing clouds, a high of 43. Then tomorrow night, and they've changed it up some, freezing rain and sleet likely, possibly mixed with snow, low around 30, only 5 mile an hour wind, so not windy. Then on Saturday, mostly sunny, a high of 46. The winds do pick back up, 9 to 11 miles an hour. So it's going to be very cold with gusts as high as 18 miles an hour. And then on Saturday, like a 40% chance. But they said it's a 100% chance of something freezing rain and sleet for certain on Friday night. So I'm going to tell people, if you do not have to go out Friday night, stay home, please. Stay home.
Yeah, because you don't want to be slip sliding. And even when you get up on Saturday morning, if the roads have been wet, they're going to be icy.
Yes,
so
and there's going to be a lot of blackouts.
It's like looking at the satellite imaging right now. See this right here?
Yeah.
That's the low pressure that's supposed to form. It's not even formed yet.
Yeah. Well,
it could be a few days, unless it's going to like speed.
So they're basing their predictions on the upper level winds, the cold, everything. So anything could happen.
There's a lot that they have to look at.
That's right.
And a lot of things can change. to get snow.
Miller time.
To get snow is going to have
Right.
everything's got to fall just in
We
place.
just,
all
look,
the
I
way
just
around.
want to see it come down a little bit, and then I'm good because I hate the cold. Anything below
Then I'll go to
70,
bed and I'm
Well,
good.
I will get some ashes out of my fireplace. I'll go sprinkle them
I just
overhead.
wanna
Get on
look at
your
it,
roof
and
and
then I'm
sprinkle them
done.
out.
No,
You
we
just
can get
go
some
not the
outside.
snow in a
same thing,
can,
Rayford.
Rayford. We'll go spray our front
It's
porch
not
in the
the
middle of the
same.
night.
I just get some white paint. You won't know the difference.
I'm not done.
Chris Miller, Jacksonville's Daily News sports editor. How are you, sir?
Hey, good morning, my friends. Hope everybody's staying warm on this cold morning.
Yeah, it's right now it's back up to 20. It was 20 this morning when I got up. It went down to 19. Now it's 20 here outside the studio. But inside it's a toasty 76 degrees, and we're going to have to turn the heater off.
Oh, yeah. And as long as we don't have the S word, I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, neither one of the S words. You got it.
Yep. We don't, because the kids need to be in school, and, we all need to, be able to get to our jobs and work and everything. So, no snow.
No snow is my
No
policy.
snow.
All right. What we got cooking in the world of sports, speaking of?
Well, you did mention Southwest High School does have a new football coach. Familiar last name to friends of the show. Zach Garvey has been promoted to head football coach at Southwest Oslo. The school announced that yesterday, and I was able to get a hold of Zach. The principal called me and then had Zach with him. So I appreciate the principal doing that.
Yes, sir, buddy.
So, yeah, we were able to have a story, and then, but yeah, Zach's been he's been the JV head football coach, junior varsity head football coach for the last 3 years, but been on staff at the school and with the football program the last 6 years. So they stayed in house, and a guy that's a strong member of the community. So I think it's going to work out pretty good for the Southwest community.
What'd you say? What'd you say his last name was?
Garvey.
Garvey.
Is that
he's,
Albert's kid?
Yep, that's Albert's son.
Ah,
Don't call him a kid if he's a
okay.
head football coach, okay?
Yeah. Okay. It all of a sudden connected.
So, but yeah, no, he's he played at Southwest. Was actually a senior
Wow.
captain on the Stallions state championship team in 2012, and I remember doing a story. It shows you how long I've been doing this. But I remember doing a story on him, as a senior, being a kind of a tenacious and a kid that played hard. So I think it's going to work out. I think anytime you have somebody who played for a school and then comes back and becomes head coach for that school for that same
awesome
program,
story.
I think
That's good.
I think it bodes well for that school.
Yeah, I like that. That's wonderful.
I do too. It's great.
Let's see. Are they out there practicing for football season yet?
Give it a rest.
They're not really doing too much. I mean, the kids who are not doing other sports, they're definitely in the weight room and trying to get bigger and stronger and faster for the next season. But a lot of your football players will play other sports, whether it be wrestling or basketball or here's an interesting sport for you, Rayford. Winter track and field.
I've heard of that.
Huh?
Yeah.
The winter. Well, it's technically indoor track and field.
Okay.
I have my opinion on the sport, but I'll leave it. I'll leave it there.
That
But
enough
because there's
room?
no indoor.
It's not quite the
there's no
same.
indoor-
It's
What's
just
that?
no indoor.
What's that, Chris? Balance beam and parallel bars?
no.
Facility, so they have to do all their stuff outside.
I
But once you
see.
get into a state championship meet in Greensboro, there is a big indoor track and field facility. So we've actually had quite a few kids, individual kids, win individual state championships over the last several years, whether it's a running event or a pole vault or things like that. So, but it is kind of unique because they're actually having their indoor track and field regular season meet outside when it's about 20 degrees outside. So it's we used to always have a little running joke, and we used to purposely put it in the paper. An indoor track and field meet held outside.
Wow. Okay.
Indoor track and
Interesting.
held outside. Gotcha.
All right.
So that's just having a little fun. But again, going back to football, they're going to be doing a lot of those sports, basketball, wrestling, winter track and field, and then before you know it, the spring season and the weather is going to start picking up a little bit.
Oh, yeah, then we'll have the rain. Then we got the summer and the heat. Then we got the fall and the heat. Then we got football season. The guys are going to be out there sweating to the sound of the oldies.
Yep,
Wow.
exactly. And Rayford, I wanted to touch up on something that y'all were talking about a few minutes ago about the fires and the media coverage of the fires in California, and you being in media, we do have a job that we have to do. We do have a job
with respect.
With respect. And I remember, when the Hurricane Florence came, excuse me, when the hurricane came all those years, a few years ago, and obviously, I had to help out because there were no sports going on, and that's the right
all
thing.
hands on deck. That's the way it works.
Right.
Yeah, that's the way it works. But you handle it gracefully, you handle it with respect, and a lot of people, if you know what you're doing and you care about doing it respectfully, you talk to the people off record first.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Off record. And say, hey, look, this is who I am. This is what I'm doing. Would you be comfortable talking to me?
That's it.
I agree.
And you hear them talk off record, and you may, because it is off record, you may miss a great quote, or you may miss a great emotion. But there's a fine line of being professional to being a human being, and So, and if they feel comfortable talking, then you talk to them. You ask them questions.
Yep.
You don't ask them got you questions, but you ask them, you don't ask them, hey, yeah, how does it feel to just lose your home? But, just, you ask it in a respectful way for people who, for people who don't know how this, who don't experience, fill me in on what's going through your mind right now. What's going through those are the type of questions you ask. And I think a lot of that's missing in the national media.
It is,
No,
absolutely.
I
It's
agree
just,
100%.
how'd you feel watching your brother die?
The difference is what
Yeah.
Chris said, and then somebody just walking up and shoving
No mics
a
first.
mic in somebody's face while they're sitting there sobbing.
Yeah. That's just not the right way to do it.
I agree.
Although, is it time for confession?
Oh no.
Yeah, I just
Buckle
taken a job down in Wilmington as a reporter
I
at
need to
the
see that.
ABC affiliate back in the 70s.
Right.
And there had been a murder down in Oak Island or somewhere down along the coast. So I went down there to do the story. I did. Got it on the way back on that little old windy road, 133. Come around a curve, and there is a cement truck, one of those things that hauls big concrete.
Yes.
And it rolled over on its side, and everything was, So I get out, and nobody had stopped. Nobody was there. Nobody. I was it. I get out, and I run up to the truck, and the guy's there, and he's unconscious, the truck driver inside. And so he comes to in just a minute or so, and I said, dude, we're okay. What can I do for you? He said, I'm fine. I can't get out. I'm pinned in here. He said, I'm fine. Everything's fine. I said, I don't know what happened. That car came around the curve, and he was on my side, and I didn't have any choice. And the car did not stop, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And he said it rolled over, but thank goodness nobody else was hurt. And he said, I'm fine here. I said, well, let me get back to the radio. This is before cell phone days.
Right.
He got back to the car, called the station, told them what had happened. Needed EMS, but it wasn't critical. The guy was okay, just trapped. So they did that. And I walked back to him, and I was carrying on a conversation with him. And he said, you're on TV, right? And I said, yeah. He said, you got your camera? And I said, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
He said, you want to do an interview with me? I did an interview with this guy. It trapped inside his
Oh
truck.
my gosh. Nice.
But I mean, he was in good shape, no
Right,
problem. And
right.
it's not something I would have done
He
otherwise.
had not just had his house burned down and his
not
animals
even
die.
close. So it was about half hilarious. And the news director, I'll never forget good old Gene, when I got back, he said, you did what? I said, yeah. He said, well, that tops any story we got today. So anyway, it was a fun thing, but it's, tragically, no, absolutely not. First of all, I've helped people. I was going to help him too first, before I'd even thought about being news guy. But I've helped a lot of people in situations before I would ever even think about going into the news route. That's the way real people do things. Don't
Mhm.
look for a tragedy and take advantage of it.
Yeah, you don't look for it. You know, you let your work speak for itself, and when you let your work speak for
Absolutely.
itself, you know the top story that you cover is going to come naturally if you just if you just let the work speak for itself. Like I said, you let it come to you. You you do your job and you research and you do your homework and everything, but you don't like you said, Rafer, you don't stick a microphone in someone's face and say,
Okay.
hey, coach, you just lost a football game. How do you feel?
No,
Yeah.
that's tragedy to him.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. You ask the questions. Hey, coach, tough loss. I'm just using sports for example.
Make conversation first.
Right. Oh, I
Hey,
agree.
Coach, tough loss. What did you tell your kids at the end of the ball game? Because I know they're heartbroken. What did you tell them? And that's the easiest question you can ask. And
It is.
a lot of the coaches will tell you what they told them. What they told them after a tough loss, and then you go from there.
Yeah, that's the reason you're the sports guy.
That's right. See, he does it with grace.
Yeah, he does.
Shows dignity. And
That's what it's all about. Chris, thanks for doing what you do, and thanks for sharing it with us.
yes.
All right, thank you guys, and stay warm.
You
got
too,
that right.
Chris.
Well,
you know-
we're fired tonight.
That's interesting about Zach Garvey. He's going to be the
Yeah.
head football. Now, his father is a chairman of the Board of Education. His uncle is in charge of the athletics for Onslow County, Tim Foster.
That's his uncle? I didn't
Yeah,
know that.
That's his uncle.
Mhm.
Keeping it in the family.
And we know about Chris and Tim Foster, too.
Yes.
I wonder if he calls him uncle.
It'd be brother-in-law.
Oh, yeah. That's
Brother-in-law.
right.
Oh, it's a brother-in-law.
Oh,
That's
that's
right.
right. I
Tim
mean,
Foster's
that-
Chris's brother-in-law.
Yeah.
I keep getting confused.
What a great family.
Let's go back to L.A. It's burning, right?
It's
Yes.
burning.
The city's
Yeah.
mayor, she's been missing in action.
Don't
Yeah,
stop me
she's-
about
Oh,
it.
yes,
Did
I
you
am.
see that
Oh, yes.
interview yesterday? Well,
That
that
was-
one-sided interview. I wanted
She's
to
been
reach out.
found.
I wanted
She's
to
been
punch her in the
discovered.
face.
She's
Yeah.
here, but
Right.
she won't discuss her out of the country trip. Mayor Karen Bass was in Ghana. Y'all go ahead and look it up. It ain't around these parts.
No.
Apparently on a personal trip. She evaded numerous questions by the press corps
Yes, she did.
when she arrived Wednesday afternoon, and they did not let up on her. Well, where were you? What were you doing?
They were
What's
waiting
going
for
on?
her at the
Don't you
airport.
think you should have been here? Why did you cut all the funding? Does this make you feel bad that you cut all the funding for the fire department? You reduced their budget. Do you think if you hadn't reduced their budget that it was?
Do you know how much she reduced it by?
It's like
Yes, a lot.
$23 million.
That could have bought a lot of water, couldn't it?
She cut the LA Fire Department's budget by $23 million.
You ready for this one? You know how she got back here? Because she knew LA was burning.
Yep.
She got aboard a military plane. Who
Oh, I
arranged?
take that back. It was 17 million. She originally tried to do 23, but she cut 17 million. Okay, that's not
she
right.
hopped aboard a military plane to get her back to LA.
Oh, that's BS too.
And
How
we
did she
pay
do
for
that?
Yeah.
She's the mayor of
Yeah.
a bunch of cities in this country. Why was she so important that she had to get back to get aboard a military plane that we paid for?
Well, let me
Is she
ask
going
you
to pay
this.
it back?
Probably not. Let me
Is-
ask you this. If you had already scheduled a vacation for Bonaire, say you scheduled it a week prior to a declaration of a state of emergency for your town that you were a mayor of, would you have canceled your trip and stayed home?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
See, she knew they had already done the state of emergency. She knew it was. She knew that things were going to be critical, but yet she went.
Something
says a lot about
something as little
I would
as
stay.
as television. Okay, I mean, in the big scope of things, TV news is a little thing, right? As far as the world peace and everything is concerned. But one of the policies that I had instituted, and some people didn't like it. You can schedule your vacations during hurricane season if you want. However, be prepared to cancel your plans
Right.
if one is coming our way. And if you're gone, be prepared to come back on your own
Well,
dime.
we have a friend
Yeah.
of the studio here that him and his wife have already got tickets, everything, getting ready to leave Friday to go out of country on a vacation.
Not anymore.
And already he's getting notices from the airport, your flight may be delayed. It may be canceled.
Uh-huh.
Well, first of all, I think I have a suspicion. I know what airline he's flying, and they're notorious for that anyway.
Well, no,
Yeah.
the airlines don't do it. The airports will close, and they will tell you that certain
I hear
flights
you,
can't
but
come
this
in.
airline particularly is always canceling their flights out of that airport.
So we'll have to wait and see how that goes down.
Yeah, I hope they get to go, but
I do
at least
too.
he
They need
bought
to go.
insurance.
Yes, I always buy the travel insurance. always.
Especially during
Yeah.
hurricane season and during any winter flights.
Yeah,
I don't care if it's 70 degrees in Jacksonville, North Carolina on February 13th.
yeah. If you're flying to
If
wherever,
you're flying to anywhere north of here or west from here,
yeah,
you got to go through Charlotte or you got to go through Hotlanta.
yeah.
Done.
There's,
Yes.
Now,
I always buy the
either one
insurance.
can be
Always.
weathered out or weathered
Yeah,
that's
in.
right.
Or the flights out of Atlanta or Charlotte, they
Mhm.
could be canceled going to some
well,
other
that's probably
location.
him calling
Your
now.
destination.
It's him calling
To
now.
him.
Chris. He heard us talking about him.
Oh, the wayward traveler that he is. Chris Marks, how are you?
I'm doing good, Rayford. Kelly Lee, how are you all?
We're
Okay,
good.
we're just talking about you, or have you about leaving Friday
On a jet airplane.
on a jet airplane if you can get out?
It's going to be one of those. It's interesting how they did it. So they sent out an alert. Today is
Thursday.
They sent out they sent out an alert on Tuesday and said that you may be affected. So if you want to change your plans now, go ahead.
Yep.
But then when you call them and tell them, they say, well, we really don't know. But they've already sent out the alerts affecting Charlotte, OHA, Wilmington, New Bern, Kinston, all the airports. And you're right. It's not so much getting out of here, then you go to Charlotte, and then you don't know. And then it's just, it's a crapshoot.
That's
That's
it.
what they said.
Then it's like, if you don't get out, you got to get a hotel room because you're not driving back that night.
Yeah, and then it depends on the accommodation where you're going to stay, whether they can adjust it.
That's
because
right.
they're expecting you on a certain day.
Yeah, your destination.
And
They book these things up for about a 4-hour turnaround on Saturday or Sunday, whatever the end date is for you. They get the crew in there, and 4 hours later, they got it ready for the incoming. So, yeah, you
Exactly.
might have a problem.
And as I think, River, maybe you mentioned, Chris, maybe one of you fine folks mentioned, it's not so, getting there. It's where is the jet coming from to take you to the next location.
That's the other thing.
And we know Kelly
We
so
know-
well with the travel
Yes.
you've had in Atlanta.
Yes.
So
Ooh, had to rent a car. yes.
yeah, unfortunately, where we may be going. or may
Yeah,
not
I've
be
done that
going.
before.
I drove back in the middle of the night one night renting a car in Atlanta.
Chris, you may have to rent a boat.
Because of mechanical
Hey,
issues.
I got one for sale. You want to buy one?
Right.
That's okay.
It's almost full of gas.
Oh, can it?
Yeah.
No.
Almost. Well, enough to keep it.
Well, it holds
when it's
300
not,
gallons,
it's
okay? So it's almost full.
But I can't
Wow.
use that in my car, can I? My truck,
Yeah.
can I? Yeah, can?
Yeah.
Can I go siphon
Yeah.
it out?
Yeah, go ahead.
That alligator would get me.
Charlie will be there waiting for you.
I bet
And
so.
and his buddy Wally.
Mm-hmm.
Rayford, you mentioned Oak Island,
Yes.
and it's ironic that you mentioned that because yesterday, I believe I mentioned that there was a big check coming from some folks. Well, the Oak Island VFW post 10226 Oak Island now
Uh-huh.
donated $1,003
Wow.
and that purchased donated 147 wreaths to our cemetery up here.
Wow.
Well, that sucks.
Go ahead, Rayford.
I got 20% of that today, so I'm calling
Thank
you
you. Well,
calling you this morning, so
They
be prepared.
they actually challenged the local VFW here, to meet that challenge, I don't know if they're listening, if they're going to get a challenge from the folks down in Oak Island. But that really, the good news is our group, and that's what I call it now. It's not my group, it's our group. Everybody that donates, and it's this community's group. We're at 278 wreaths already. And when I met somebody at one of the local banking institutions yesterday, he goes, "You kind of got started early, didn't you?" And I said, "Well, yes, sir. There's a reason why. Right now you get 5 wreaths for the cost of 2 wreaths." And I was able to, unfortunately, not see anybody at any of the car dealerships, the furniture stores, some places. You didn't get to see anybody, but they've got information that's available. And I just want to again thank you three because you're helping getting the word out. There's a lot of people that are listening.
We'll keep doing it. We'll keep pushing it. It's just near and dear to our hearts, all of us.
I know it is. And, the one question that everyone keeps asking when I'm visiting is, "You're kidding, right? They weren't all covered?" No, I'm not. I wouldn't kid about something like that. They were not all covered. And for all of us that have veterans that are over there, and Kelly and Lee, you were there. How sad it was at the end to see that all the grave sites were not covered.
Yeah,
That was very sad.
That's the last time.
Year with 1 year exception.
Well, you need to make a note of it. That was the last year. Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it was because I think Lee told me last night she has it in her book that I said 7,000 will be there if we need them, and they will be.
Oh yeah, they're going to be there.
I'll tell you, we're working on it.
But I expect to have about 1,500 left over to go to
Towards
the following
next year. That's right.
Towards
Carry it over.
2026.
Yeah.
Pay it forward.
You know what? That is my hope and dream too, and we're all doing the best we can to make it happen. But I plead once again out to the businesses of Onslow County, and I went to a lot of the big businesses.
You did that yesterday, didn't you? Going business to business?
Yes, I did that yesterday. I did it the day before, and I'll do it again today. And someone said, "You sure picked a cold day to do it." I went, "Yes, sir."
You got to start somewhere.
But you got to start somewhere. But and also saw some of our local attorneys yesterday who are going to donate. So
good.
There are people out there that want to give, and the only reason it's being pushed right now so hard is because of that January 17th deadline of the 5 for 2.
Yeah. Well, you got mine today.
You'll have mine tomorrow.
I appreciate that.
Yep.
Well, I appreciate it. Y'all did it last year, and I knew if you'd be doing it this year. You're wonderful people for letting me come on and do this. A local women's group last night met. Kathy brought it up to them. They wrote a check. Oh, good. And then a couple people in there wrote a check on their own. So it's just getting the word out, and that's what live local Real Talk is all about. Getting the word out. And so far, besides you folks and Morgan, Starling, nobody else considers this a news story.
It's a big story.
Okay.
All right, Chris.
Anyway,
Chat with you later today.
Again.
Bye, Chris.
All right. Have a blessed day.
Talk to you later.
Bye. Get your pen and paper ready. I'll be calling you shortly.
Okay.
Okay. Here we go. It's a guy that I know.
Yes.
How do you spell T?
TEE.
Thank you.
For real?
Yes,
It's not
sir.
just an initial.
No, sir. It's not
What's
even
his
an initial.
nickname?
It's my name.
Now, what does it stand for? Do you golf?
I do not. I'll try to make this story as short as
Okay,
possible.
I didn't get that one. I didn't win that one. Okay.
But I'm the third.
Right.
My mom particularly didn't care for my first name, and my dad goes by my middle name. So when he deer hunted, his radio handle was T-Boy. So
T-Boy. So
Yes, sir.
you're T-Boy.
I'm T. So
Just T.
just T. That's all
Interesting.
I've known.
So your
Right.
your first name is Edward. So we'll get that straight in case anybody looks in the records and say, "Who's this dude?" Is Edward Tallman, Edward T. Tallman.
Yes, sir.
So
Or Edward Brian Tallman, the third.
Yeah.
Like T. Yes, sir.
I like Brian.
yeah, I knew Brian too.
Yes, sir.
And you had a couple of relatives, one named Candy and one named Sherry.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we grew up right down the street from each other.
Oh, wow.
Yes, sir.
And,
See, we thought he was local.
I
Yeah,
knew he was- I knew he was
yeah,
local.
that's
Old
what you said.
Jacksonville.
absolutely.
Yeah.
There we
Old
go.
I
Jacksonville.
remember his face now. As soon as he walked in, oh, yeah.
Fire
I know him.
chief is what he's better known as, or
Yes.
sir, to a lot of people around there, right?
Just T.
Just
Just
Yes, sir.
Okay. Jacksonville Fire Department certainly has grown a bunch over the
Yes, it
years,
has.
over the decades. And you guys got ladders and big trucks and all sorts of cool stuff now.
Yes, sir. We're
You got a new
tasked.
headquarters building too,
Yes, sir.
relatively new.
Yes, sir. And a new Station 4 that's over in the Commons.
Mhm.
Yes.
So we're tasked with a lot, and the demand is a lot.
Yeah.
So, we have a lot of responsibilities, and
Yes, you do.
like we talk about all the time, if something goes wrong, it winds up in us and the police department's lap. So,
Oh, absolutely.
we-
First responders are first responders, regardless of what they do. A question for you: what's the tallest structure that we have around here?
Yeah, we
building
got into
where
that.
people are?
it is the hospital.
The hospital.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
7
you
stories.
got stuff to reach it.
The
We do
laboratory.
the ladder. We have places at the hospital that we can get to the top floor
Okay.
of the hospital. Yes,
All
sir.
right, good. I was thinking about it the other day because
We talked about that, I think, last year,
Yeah,
right.
down in Wilmington, they got a bunch of buildings around, and that's used to be one of the big things. Can you reach it?
I think it's when we had the mayor in it, and they were doing a city council meeting, something about the purchase of the truck,
Mhm.
and that's how that whole thing came up.
Can I borrow one of those trucks one
Yeah.
day? That's ladder. I need a
Totally.
ladder.
No.
Well,
No.
it just depends on the ask, but we'll try to help you in any way we can. So,
I need to put some antennas up on a pole out here.
no, so we're probably not qualified for that. But I'm sorry.
You'll
Well-
find somebody.
I just need a bucket truck. That's what I'm gonna need.
I'll find you a bucket.
I'm gonna get a bucket truck.
So,
I know you're following this West Coast mess.
yes, sir.
Oh, that's got to send
Horrible.
chills and all sorts of stuff through you.
It's terrible. It's scary, especially when you get fires that large. I mean, there's really nothing you can do for it.
Sooner or
Just-
later, you run out of water and equipment, and you just can't do anymore.
Yes, sir. And like what's happening out there is it makes its own weather. They're talking about the wind.
That's what I was
Right.
talking about.
It's such a demand for oxygen for that large of a fire. It's actually
Just
pulling so much in.
Sucks it in.
The elevation, the low humidity's there.
Mhm.
It really makes it challenging for those types of fires.
Just
We
horrific.
don't have those conditions here. I won't say ever, but we haven't had them in a long time.
Correct. Yes, sir. With those woods fires and stuff like that, if you notice most of the time, the base, the forestry, they're doing those burns in the springtime with
Yes.
the low humidity. It's
They
drier.
hope.
So, yes, that's why they changed it from controlled burns to prescribed burns
Uh-huh.
because you
They're
can't
not controlled
they're not
necessarily.
controlled. So
Yes.
you try to predict it the best you can,
Yeah.
but they take advantage of those weather situations.
That one about 10 years ago, 8 or 10 years ago, started and I mean, golly, I came through smoke in the intercoastal coming up from Riceville Beach, and I saw the fire burning over towards Pender.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The one
So-
around Dixon.
That's it.
Yes, sir.
And about 2 days later, I went up to Cape Lookout, and from the location that I normally am, like at Beaufort Inlet, I couldn't see the tower, couldn't see
Right.
Lookout Tower. It was nothing, and I got pictures of it. It was a yellow haze. It
Mhm.
looked like LA.
Yeah, it was.
It was awful looking.
Yeah, we were in our backyard at our house in Northwoods, and we're having
Stuff
ash
falling in
Yes,
your
ash
yeah,
in it.
Same thing here.
Yeah.
So it was a time. We don't need those again.
No, sir. No, sir. We don't. But the state, the forestry, the base, they do a good job. That's why they
Mhm.
have those prescribed burns to
Yeah.
reduce those fuels.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you don't have those large events.
Because we used to see it up because those things with a lot of undergrowth, a lot of older trees falling down, limbs falling. I have limbs falling back here all the time. Every
Mhm.
time the wind blows, you got little rotten limbs fall. That's perfect fodder for a
Yeah.
fire, and it just spreads and goes.
And then the debris from hurricanes, it just sits there,
That
it
too.
dries out, and if you don't get rid of those fuels on the ground and stuff
Mhm.
like that, it can become a problem.
Let's talk about safety a little bit. Over Christmas during the holidays, I can't tell you how many total. I remember two serious situations. One was an actress. She was killed,
Mhm.
carbon monoxide.
Mhm.
We had 5 people in a house or 6 people in a house in New Hampshire, vacationers.
Mhm.
They died. One of those was actually a teacher. She'd taken a teaching job, first year teaching in North Carolina,
Mhm.
up in northeastern North Carolina, 22 years of age. Carbon monoxide, silent.
Yes, sir. The silent
You
killer.
don't even know.
Mm-mm. Odorless, tasteless. You don't even know what's there.
You don't smell it. You don't
Mhm.
know anything is happening until you're one and done.
Yes, sir. Basically, you just go to sleep. Yeah, it's terrible. It's dangerous. It's a product of open combustion. Anything you have gas fired appliances, a fireplace, anything that's burning in their furnace is what causes carbon monoxide.
So if I got a gas, I do have a gas range. I
Yes,
got
sir.
a gas range, and obviously it's got an open fire because I cook.
Yes, sir.
Other than a carbon monoxide warning device, I likely am not going to have an issue while I'm standing there cooking it.
No,
First
sir.
of all, there are flames coming up, and it's kind of
Burning that gas.
Mhm.
Right.
taking care of itself, right?
Yes, sir. And the carbon monoxide is a product of the burning if it's burning like it's supposed to.
Uh-huh.
You want to make sure that it is operating like it's supposed to, that you maintain it.
A big yellow flame is not a good thing.
Right. Yes, sir.
Okay.
You want the blue flame. Yes, sir.
I want the blue flame.
You want the blue flame. But it's maintained that it's vented properly. You cooking and stuff like that, it's not going to produce those numbers that would give you any type of trouble like that. But also having a carbon monoxide detector.
That's
in
where
your
we're
house.
going.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Multiple carbon monoxide detectors. inside.
Multiple.
Yes, ma'am. Because carbon monoxide is actually lighter than air. So if you take the vapor density of air, it's 1. Carbon monoxide is 0.97. So it's going to rise and then come down as it fills up. So
It goes to the ceiling and travels
Right.
throughout the facility and fills
Right.
up and comes on down.
yes, sir. So you would like to have those, close to your kitchen, but you definitely want them around the bedrooms, a hallway to the bedroom, or actually in the bedrooms. And
So I need to buy 2 new ones.
The combo units,
Mhm.
do we have decent combo units? Smoke,
And carbon.
fire, and CO?
Yes,
Carbon
sir.
monoxide?
Yes, sir. They
There
are.
are
They
some
do
good
very
ones.
well. And they actually have some that have digital readouts on them.
That's
Oh,
what
really?
I was
Yes, sir.
looking at.
So-
Dang, that's what I need.
Yes, sir. So you're going to have maybe little bits and pieces. It's
Digital.
measured in parts per million.
Sure.
So it's going to be around a little bit. But when it gets into the 50s, the hundreds, and that kind of stuff, that's when you really need to be concerned. So
So we know what I'd rather know the status than just suddenly get an alarm.
correct. Yes, sir. So, I mean, it'll show.
Kind of like
up
being
there.
there having a gas tank in your car and no gas gauge, right?
Yes, sir.
You don't
Yes.
know until you run out. No, you don't want to do that.
No, sir.
Okay.
So,
Well,
but-
I know I have to get. Oh, go ahead, Kelly. You've got
So I
some.
was going to tell you something.
Oh.
Off there.
Oh, okay. Well, I had an incident yesterday, and it's strange that I had it the day before you came in. But I had bought a new smoke alarm
Mhm.
that is one of those 10-year lithium battery. Because when Brian Kelly was here, he said, that's what you need to get. Well, yesterday I was cooking bacon in the kitchen and had walked away, and it has smoked up. And I look, and I've got smoke everywhere, and my alarm never went off.
really? Now, have you tested it?
Yes, when I first put it up.
Okay. You probably need to test it again, but
Right.
it sounds like either it's a malfunctioning alarm or it
Correct.
just didn't have what it needed to trigger
Well,
that sensor.
when
there.
I opened the doors, you could see the smoke going outside. Yeah, you could actually, I mean, I feel like
Really?
it was enough smoke.
Get yourself a piece of paper and let it smoke up and hold it underneath the alarm.
Mm.
Are you
What?
serious?
Yes.
But yet I made pancakes, didn't have any smoke. Set my alarm off. The fire department, I live in the commons, so they came very
Yes.
quickly. I even got pizza for them for the trouble they had
Right.
to suit up and come.
They set the
Um,
fire. That's what it was.
but, I mean,
So they
'cause
could
I
get
got
pizza.
they wanted
Simply safe.
pancakes, is what it was. They didn't want bacon.
But it didn't really even smoke. But that thing has got a
Well,
head
my
by now.
ADT, but
I
I
have
canceled
stress.
ADT and I just use the regular alarms now. And usually ADT, all I have to do is light a candle and it'll go
Well,
off.
that Simply Safe thing, man, I tell you what, that thing is on point. It will sniff out
I'm going to
anything.
test it today, but when I was in a big store the other day, I got looking at them, but I
Mhm.
wanted to wait till you came in, and I saw the dual ones,
Mhm.
and they have digital readout and everything, and
Mm.
so I thought, and they plug in. You can either get them to plug in, or you can get them on the wall. If you get them to plug in now, and if your electricity goes off, do they still work?
Yes, ma'am. They have a battery backup.
Oh, good.
Okay.
So, and they're expected to last for a certain amount of time.
Is it a rechargeable battery that is always charging?
I will
Plug
have
in?
to check. It may be based on the manufacturer.
Yeah,
Sometimes
okay.
it's just a
Right.
9-volt
So
versus
I
a
need-
lithium
I need to-
battery. so
But even if it's a rechargeable, one of you
Right.
folks, those things go bad when they're charged all the time.
Well, I was going to bring it into that, and I forgot. I do have a carbon monoxide detector, but I've had the same one for like 15 years. You plug it in, it reads digital. It appears to be working, but would you advise probably time to get a new one?
Yes.
yes, ma'am. I would read the package, but it shouldn't be any more than 10 years old. So
Okay,
Yes,
well,
what are you
that
thinking? Yes.
When it
I
gets to-
just, I
when it gets to
figured
be a
that.
decade old.
Mhm.
Come on.
Well, I've not had, well, I did finally hook up the gas fireplace last year. You know, one of our friends came over and did it, but I've had the gas off. I've not even used it. But then I got thinking, what would, I mean, anything could happen.
Okay, now before you get scared, T, the friend she's talking about owns a gas company, so
Yes.
it was a professional.
Yes.
so it
I
wasn't
mean,
just,
it was
wasn't
a
just
line
What's the
Joe
fly
made
fly
that.
by night person over there? Yeah.
No.
And
I
if you
wouldn't.
need any help with it, we're more than happy. You can call us and schedule an appointment. We'll help install them. We'll help talk you through them.
Really?
Fire and carbon monoxide detectors.
Oh,
Yes,
they
ma'am.
need to know.
I-
Would the mayor pay for 'em?
Will the mayor pay for it?
Yeah.
You have to ask Mr. Phillips that
I'll ask
question.
him. I'll
So,
give him
Just walk on down the street.
so
I know that I 1 year I volunteered with the American Red Cross, and we put
Mhm.
fire alarm detectors in houses and stuff. That was really interesting.
Yeah.
But okay, I'm definitely going to buy new ones.
yes,
Yes.
I'm gonna get
today.
2 of them.
and I don't
We
work
give
for
you
the
the
alarm
day.
companies. I
No,
just work
no.
for the fire department.
No, I'm going to
For a
buy
house
2.
this size,
Two.
first of all, this is a separate unit from the
Right.
house, but I want one in here.
Yes,
We
sir.
don't have any gas in here, but
Mhm.
I just, you never can tell. One of these TVs or one of these monitors, one of these 9 computers that are around here can generate all sorts of nasty stuff when I'm not in
Mhm.
here, right?
Yes, sir.
I like to know about it. But then the rest of the house, garage, do you recommend it? Because you're going to start a car in a garage from time to time. I know you're going to do it.
Yes.
That's personal preference. It probably could cause a lot of false alarms, but you really don't need to start your car in the garage.
I know.
I know you do, or let it run
I
in the
do
garage.
it
You're
long
gonna have
enough
to.
to
You got to
pull it
start it.
out.
That's right. You got to start
That's
it in the
it.
garage. But the colder weather and that kind of stuff, somebody may not want to travel in a cold car.
Gas
I know.
generators.
But let me interrupt y'all for a second. I know somebody that had, this is why I won't buy this now, a battery operated lawnmower, I think,
Mhm.
and it burned their house to the ground
Yeah.
in the garage.
That lithium
Plugged in
battery,
charging.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to be careful with those too.
Yeah.
That once you're done charging them, you need to unplug
Yeah,
them.
I'm sitting
Yeah.
there watching
My
my blink right
suggestion-
now.
Mhm.
Coming from the electronics world is get yourself a timer. Put
Mm-hmm.
it on whatever power strip that you got charging all of your lithium batteries,
Mhm.
your lawnmower batteries, your drill batteries, whatever. Put it on there, set it for a time. When it goes off, it's not going to charge anymore.
Mhm.
I've gotten to where
That's a good idea.
after Brian gave me the lecture, I keep mine turned off unless I'm getting ready to use them. Then I'll go a couple hours ahead and turn them on and charge them up, and then
That's a
I'll
good
turn them
idea.
off again.
Yeah.
Because he scared me that day. He was sitting there going, "Yeah, they
There've
could
been a
blow
lot-
up."
there've been a lot of
I'm
them.
like, "Come
Yeah.
on."
Once they start going, they're hard to put out. So,
Yes.
Yep.
Well, what else? I mean, we're talking about like gas fireplaces. That's the only gas I have in my house, and
Same.
I very seldom even use it because to me, it just gets so hot so fast.
Mhm.
But what other things can we look out for as far as carbon monoxide? How about wood fireplaces?
They produce it too as well. You want to make sure that your chimneys are clean, that they're vented well.
Right.
Houses nowadays are airtight. To keep that from going back and forth. As a matter of fact, I have a wood burning fireplace in my
Me
house.
too.
I'm thinking about
And
changing.
it's a newer house, and it's so airtight that sometimes I have to crack the door to get the chimney to draw.
To get it, yeah.
So-
Well, I kind of like it when I do that because I know that air is coming through and I can see it, and there's no smoke coming out of the fireplace.
Right.
Mhm.
If you see smoke coming out of your fireplace, your temperatures outside are too warm to have that fire. You shouldn't have it.
Right.
Okay. It should be, what is it? I forgot, 20 degrees or
Wait,
15
wait.
degrees or
Mhm.
something like that.
Repeat
Yes, sir.
that again.
The difference if you set a fire in your home and it's, let's say it's 65 degrees outside
Right.
and it's 70 degrees inside,
Right.
you're going to get smoke.
Oh,
It's not going to burn well.
okay.
So,
So
just-
you said if you don't see smoke coming out of the fireplace?
if you don't see smoke coming out, it's drawing pretty well. It's going up the chimney.
Oh, okay.
That's where it's
Gotcha.
supposed to go.
I would think the reverse. See, I learned something.
Yeah,
new.
you have to get that chimney to draw.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
And
So
always open the
you
flue.
can always, at the first of the season, especially if you're not sure whether you open that flue or
Yeah, it
not. So
happened to
that's
me
one
one
of the
time.
worst things. That and squirrels.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
that happened to
building
me one
nests.
time. The flue had fallen closed after
Mhm.
I lit the fire, and we're all in the house, and I was like, "Is it smoky in
Yep,
here?"
it is.
Every
But
all
get yourself,
alarms went
you
off.
can take a piece
Yes.
of newspaper then. It's not going to burn for so long.
Right.
And light it, put it in the fireplace. And if it starts just smoking and it's not going up, then you got a problem.
Yeah, I mean, I had opened it, but I did not set it. You know, you open it and you kind of have to click it a little bit. You know
Mhm.
that you've got it where it's supposed
Lock.
to be, and I didn't do that. So stupid.
We-
We've all been there.
yeah, we've all made mistakes.
We've all done it.
So,
Uh,
So we've got wood fireplaces that you need it.
yes,
So-
water heaters,
yes, sir. Dryers.
gas,
All-
anything.
These are gas
Mhm.
powered you're talking about?
Yes, ma'am.
Water
So just the
heaters that are
electric-
mounted on the outside of your house.
In the inside of your house.
I know, but water heaters that are mounted on the outside of your house, there are a lot of them. I've got one,
Hmm.
and I've got it for a reason that I wanted it out the side.
Mm.
But we don't get fumes from that.
Hmm. But as long as they're vented properly, and you want to make sure that's maintained too as well,
Right.
that birds or dirt daubers haven't gone in there and built a nest
Make
in
sure
the
you
vent
put
that is
the-
vented properly.
Dirt daubers are awful in this neck of the woods.
Oh, yes.
Go to anybody with an outboard motor, tell them
Mhm.
to take the hood off
Go to my
after they haven't
shed.
been used for 6 or 8, 10 months,
Right.
and you might find some dirt daubers clogging up your water tubes.
Mhm.
So we know dirt daubers are there.
So you need to periodically check those things, and
Right.
it's a good precaution. Maybe once a year, just have a maintenance person just
I
come
need
out
to
and
do
check
that.
those
I
things
want
to make
one
sure that it's
before I
functioning.
convert back to wood. I want to get somebody to come out and inspect my chimney.
Or you would.
Y'all don't
Because-
do that, do you?
We do not inspect chimneys, no ma'am. They're tough to find nowadays.
Yeah.
What happened to the
Yeah.
old chimney sweeps? You remember the guys that would
Yeah.
crawl down to chimneys and stuff?
There are
Yeah,
some
but they-
because I looked them up yesterday because I thought I think I'm going to convert back to wood.
Nobody
because,
knows what a chimney sweep is but me.
and there are some listed, so we'll see.
I actually had a guy come clean my chimney out. It was
Really?
Yes, sir. He actually did it from the inside. So, but
Ooh,
yeah,
nice.
very nice guy. Did an excellent job. So it's
Oh, great.
it's amazing the precautions they have to
Well,
take.
I bet he did for you.
And for you, you newbies out there, for never had a wood burning fireplace, but you got one now, do not, I don't care how cheap it is, do not go pick up any used 2x4s or from a building, where they're building a house and they're throwing away these 2x4s that are, oh God, that fit my fireplace just fine. They're made of pine, y'all.
That's right.
Pine's got sap in it.
Mhm.
Pine's going to clog up your chimney. You're going to have a chimney fire.
So,
Right?
yes, sir. Yes, sir. And pallets too. People,
Pallets, same thing.
They're fine to burn outside, but
Burn them outside all you
Pallets.
want, but
Mhm.
not in the city unless you
Can we'll
Yeah,
get some
that's
chainsaw
unless
out
you got
soon.
some excuse to use
I'll
it.
come watch you do it.
But charcoal, don't use it in the house. Don't use it in your garage. I don't care how bad the weather is outside.
Pull it away from the house too. Most
Yeah.
people.
Right.
Obviously you can burn your house down, but you also have vented soffit and
Yep.
stuff like that around there.
Generators.
Yes, generators.
Oh God.
Yep, especially during hurricane season when most of those times those
Yes.
are being run. So get it away from the house.
Do you remember when everybody used to eat? Well, you may not remember because you're so young. Do you remember the kerosene?
The kerosene heaters.
The kerosene
Yes.
heaters.
Yep.
We all had one.
Yes, we all had one. How about? And we had them in our houses.
Well, that's where you would
Yeah,
put
I
them.
know, really. But how about? Do they produce carbon monoxide?
They do anything that burns
See,
with
we
an
all
open
could have
flame
died.
produces carbon
We all
monoxide.
could have
They
died.
produce carbon monoxide, but they also tip over.
Mhm.
Yeah, but
Or
we all
you-
could have
and
died
they-
growing up.
And then probably, I think in Wilmington, one of the most common fires was a kerosene heater fire.
Mhm.
Why? Because people filled them while they were burning.
Mhm.
When they were run out of
Oh,
fuel
yeah,
or
it's
close, they
stupid.
would pour it in there. And you can't pour it in there without spilling it.
But we
Can't be
always
done.
turned ours off, but that it was still hot.
Yeah,
we poured
it's
it
gonna
in there
burn.
anyway.
Take it outside and fill it
I
up
know,
and let
so
it cool off.
dumb.
Yeah.
So dumb.
Or have it too close to furniture or the drapes
Yes.
or anything like that. It
Melt the
just,
drapes. I
Mm.
guess I've seen that happen.
Anybody use candles during hurricanes these days?
yes, sir, they do. And with LED technology and stuff like that, the flashlights and all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
you see a lot more of those, but still
Right.
people resort to candles and
Well,
stuff like that.
a candle during hurricanes, there used to be a lot of that stuff, and kerosene lanterns. They call them, for whatever reason, they came up hurricane lamps. They're not hurricane, they're
Mhm.
kerosene lanterns, kerosene lamps.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people use those, and the first thing to do is put them up. They smoke,
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
so you know that's got carbon monoxide.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. especially too in a hurricane and stuff like that too, as well as you're burning candles. If the event that you have to evacuate in a hurry, that's not a good thing either, because most of the time people are so panicked that they forget to blow those things out.
Yeah, they've got
Or they
to
go
see
to
the
bed
way
with
out
those
the
things
door,
burning
yeah.
and forget to blow them out, and
That's a
it could
good
lead
point.
something even more catastrophic. So
I just always make sure I have plenty of LED batteries. I mean, LED lights, flashlights. Yeah,
Yeah.
just the candles. You're right; they aren't good.
no, so
Fire department responds. You are first responders, and you respond to wrecks, obviously fires, wrecks, cats and trees, or whatever else somebody calls about these days. It's an emergency of any sort, right?
yes, sir. If they call, we'll come. So
Mhm.
there's no telling what you'll walk into anytime you go on a call. But we do all that kind of stuff. Like last year, we just, excuse me, ran our numbers, ran over 5,000 emergency calls last year. It's when I started in 2000, I think we were around 16 or 1,700 calls a year.
Wow.
Now we're up over 5,000.
Wow. Of course, the city's gotten bigger.
Yes, sir. The demand, and then the influx of people during the daytime too, as well.
Sure.
We track the times of those calls and kind of try to develop trends, and when we're having those peak times and stuff like that too, as well. From 6 o'clock in the morning till about 8 or 9 o'clock at night, it's just tremendous. The
The
demand.
guys, when they're running
Nice.
lights and sirens, and are people still getting in their way a lot, or are people finally catching on to that big flashing red light coming up behind them with a big old truck with a big old, very noisy siren? You should get out of the way.
You should.
Do they catch on yet? Have they caught on?
Sir, my personal preference, I think it's getting worse.
It is really.
Yes, sir.
Oh, gee, I can understand.
And I don't think it's
around here.
necessarily on purpose, but with the distractions that people have in cars nowadays, they're on their telephones. It's amazing how many people you go by that have those earbuds in,
Yeah, can't hear a thing.
Yeah.
can't hear a thing. And then cars are just so well insulated.
Mhm.
True.
And then I know I've sat at a light at a city and I hear a siren, and sometimes you just can't tell where it's coming from.
Oh no, it bounces everywhere.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. It's tough to dictate sometimes, and then
Sometimes I roll down my window to see if I could hear it better because you just don't know where it's coming
Look
from.
in your rearview mirror
Yeah,
too.
I'm looking at all mirrors. I don't see it, but it's getting louder.
right. And there could be multiple agencies responding too as
Right.
well. For a structure fire, we don't send just one truck, so there's multiple vehicles coming.
Imagine
from
you
several-
had quite a
From
bit
different
out the other
directions
night.
usually, right?
Yes, sir. Different directions, and it's tough. We're trained to stay in that left-hand lane.
Yes.
So that gives people the opportunity to pull
Right.
off to the right, off to the shoulder, to give us a clear lane of passage. So
At places like Western and Marine Boulevard or Country Club and
Converge.
Western, some of these intersections are a pain in the butt because everybody is stopped.
yes, sir.
And you're trying to get through and you got 4 lanes of traffic here, some turn lanes and whatever. People want to get out of the way, but they can't go anywhere.
That's right. And sometimes we'll leave the lights on to let them know our intentions and just cut the sirens off
Yeah.
and wait for the light to clear. But there's also technology out there for probably
Yes.
10 or 15 years. We've had the Opticon system.
I want one of those.
Oh, really?
It's hard enough for me to get one. But if you look on the power lines up there by the lights, there's actually a signal that we have a flashing light on our truck that it detects that. It picks that signal up.
That's
It
pretty
turns our
nifty.
light green. It
Right.
clears the traffic through the intersection, stops
Ah,
traffic in
didn't
the other
know that.
directions. But they've upgraded that technology. We're starting to install GPS. The problem with the Opticon system is its line of sight.
I got you.
So that thing has to pick up that flashing
Yeah,
light.
you need
With-
RF signals. What you need.
How about the
Mhm.
911 center? Can they manipulate the lights in any way?
We
for
actually
you?
have a traffic center. We have cameras at most of the major intersections.
Yeah, I've seen
That
that.
they have the ability. Anthony Prince, our transportation director,
We know
they
Anthony.
do an excellent job.
Do
with
they
that.
have that up
Excellent.
public? A lot of cities will have that where people can go in and take a look at their stuff. Do they have it up on a website or do you know?
I do not think so.
Okay.
But that's a question I can ask and get back to you.
That'd be
I
interesting
know
for
at
me. for you to decide which way to come to work in the mornings at 5
Yeah.
o'clock.
At the EOC Center in the 911 section, when
Yeah,
we
they
went
can.
in, they have all those TVs all up there, and they have cameras at all these major intersections.
Sure.
It was just, I was like, wow.
And it's a tremendous advantage for us because
Yes.
in our EOC, our Emergency Operations Center,
They can tell you.
we can pull those cameras up. So we utilize them during hurricanes to
Yep.
kind of gauge the weather out there.
Yeah.
And we'll actually staff our EOC during the Veterans Parade and the holiday parade.
Oh.
And we can actually watch down Western Boulevard as the parade is going down
Mhm.
and kind of monitor things as they're going down through
It's
the
like
parade.
you
So-
never know who's watching you when you're out on these roads, because after I saw what I saw, I was like, Lord, you don't want to be sitting at a light scratching or doing something personal because you're being watched. I'm telling you. You can sit right down in there.
Well, maybe you're, an exhibitionist. You can do what you want to do.
No, I just
It'll be
just
count
like,
on camera.
hurry up and turn
Show up on
green.
YouTube to Barnard.
Yeah, we're not zooming in. We're just watching traffic.
Turn
but
green so I
I'm
can
sure
get down the road and
technology's
scratch.
there.
Yeah, we've come a long ways in Jacksonville.
We have.
So
Now,
far.
We talked about lithium batteries and all these
Yes.
batteries and whatever. Let's talk about lithium battery powered cars.
Mhm.
Y'all got a problem.
Yes, sir, we do.
You train special for that, don't you?
We do. Actually, we have bought some equipment for that.
Okay.
We have bought a huge fire blanket that we carry on our battalion vehicle.
wanted
just
to ask
smother it with
you
a
We
about
just
that.
smother it. So I don't think you can put enough water on it.
I
No, you
wanted to.
can't.
I've
It
actually
just
heard
spreads it.
I've actually heard of fire departments. I think one group got so frustrated they just pushed it into a pond. They
Wow.
pushed the burning
So they
car.
set the pond on fire.
Wow.
Those things are hot.
They're
and,
hot.
They are difficult to put out.
Yes,
So,
tough to get to. Just a regular car fire on a gas engine's a challenge.
about enough.
Just trying to get to
Well,
it.
I
But
know
those
Kelly wanted to
batteries
ask
are.
something. Then I want to ask something. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was going to say, so you just put the blanket on the car?
Yes, ma'am. Well, we actually train with it, but we
Uh-huh.
have firefighters. Obviously they're in all their protective gear. They're
Right.
SCBA,
You
and
just
basically
throw it over there.
they actually walk
I
it
saw
over
that.
Oh, that's
top of the
pretty cool.
vehicle.
I wanna
I
see
like
that.
that. Neat.
Oh, that was at that
Yes, sir.
car bombing in Vegas. They had that great big blanket over
Oh, is that
That's
what they did?
That's
Okay,
exactly
yeah,
what it
okay.
is. So,
Now,
That's what I
the-
saw it.
that goes back to the good old kitchen days.
Mhm.
You put ladies, men who cook. You put a pan of grease,
Mhm.
oil on the stove to get it hot before you put your
Cooking that
chicken in it
bacon.
or your
Yeah.
shrimp in it or whatever.
Really?
And the phone rings in the other room. That was before we had wireless
Right.
phones everywhere.
Mhm.
But the phone rings down there, and I know that for a fact around here because it happened twice. Made my dad real happy. But suddenly the place is. What do you do for a kitchen fire like that? You got your pot has caught on fire.
That's like cover it with a pan, a lid.
Cover. You have the
You
lid
don't
nearby.
throw down water on it. You're supposed to put fire out with water.
That's
on
the
it.
last thing you need to do is. To put water
I
on
know
it,
that.
so-
Yeah.
He's being facetious.
I just want people to understand
Yes.
that because the inclination is take that thing and stick it under the sink.
Mhm.
You got
That's
a
a worse.
problem.
You got splattering grease. A whole lot. Of
And
things
the
will
reason
happen.
why-
that happened to somebody I know. That's like bad.
And that brings up my question. They make these like blankets now for the house. They're, kind of like, they're not big. They're
Mhm.
more like throws that you can actually throw over the fire on the stove and it puts it out. Do those really work?
Yes, ma'am. They
I need to
do.
get one of those.
Yeah,
Where do you
we
get
need
them
to
at?
get 'em,
Might
Kelly.
not be a bad idea.
Yeah, this is Charlie coming.
And they actually have canisters that you can put up in your
Right.
range hood. That'll
Yes.
actually, if it triggered, it'll actually like a fire
Oh, I
extinguisher.
Oh, I want that right there.
I probably
too.
needed it
But
yesterday.
there are some of those. I've seen
Yeah.
that developed over the years.
Yes, I have
In
too.
fact, I tried to work on one, build one myself. It didn't work.
Yes.
But anyway, so
I wondered
And
about those blankets.
Another thing
I
too
will
is, Mr. Brown talked about not putting water on it. Don't want to
Right.
do
No, that
it.
only
Don't try to move it either.
get it back.
No, because you're going to spill it and you're going to have a
spill it.
problem.
You're going to wind up burnt, spreading the fire. You
Right.
slip in it. It's
That happened to somebody I know. They ended up like almost second thing in their
Mhm.
gardens. It was
Oh,
bad.
yes.
Yeah.
We got a caller with a question. Is this Charlie?
Yes, Charlie, very quickly, I don't want to waste your guys' time. I just checked in like 5 minutes ago. Are you guys referencing the fires in California as well?
Yeah,
Yes,
we've already
we-
talked about that
we
this morning.
talked
Yes,
about
we
that.
have. How close are you to that mess?
I'm around. Who knows? Who knows where I am?
All right, I just wanted to be sure you were. I thought about you yesterday about that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You were okay.
I posted a link just now in your chat room. It's a
Okay.
link that says Eric, ABBENAT. It's a 5-minute breakdown by Adam Kroll. You guys know who Adam Kroll is, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes, go ahead.
So he lived in the fire area.
Right.
He had to evacuate.
Right.
He broke it down eloquently
Wow.
about what he's had to experience. He broke down what's going to happen to all these people, all these multi-millionaires who want to rebuild. He said it's going to take them up to 3 years just to get the lumber delivered to their property. He says all of these tens of thousands of people, because of who they are, kind of woke blue type people, he said the Malibu Beach community, they don't even want them to rebuild. It's amazing. It's a great breakdown. You've got to watch
We'll
it.
take a look
We
at
will
it.
do it.
We'll take a look at it, Charlie. Hey, man, appreciate it, sir.
Thanks, Charlie.
All right.
Next time, bye. So, hopefully we don't have any of that stuff here. Well, you guys, what other training do you go through? Or what do you prepare for that the public may not be aware of?
We actually have several specialty teams. We have a hazmat team that's trained to the hazmat technician level, which is extremely precise and very labor intensive. So that's why we have partnerships. We're very fortunate that Camp Lejeune also has a hazmat team.
Yes.
They're all technicians.
Yeah.
So we have automatic aid agreements where they'll come and help us and we'll go and help them. The state has teams too as well. But when it comes to them, it's all about time.
We all think of plane crashes as being as a hazmat necessity, but there are a lot of other issues that could be hazmat.
Yes, sir.
Electric cars.
Yeah, just what's being hauled through the city on a day in and day in basis.
Okay, you're going to scare us about what's being hauled through this city on a daily basis that we don't know about?
We don't want to know.
No, I'm not trying to scare anybody, but it's just it is what it is.
There's stuff that passes through a gasoline,
Nuclear.
a fuel truck passing through here with aviation fuel or
Yes.
with gasoline.
That's right. Chlorine
Right.
gas, shipping containers. There's no telling, what's
Well,
on these
you
things.
had
And-
that not long ago over there at the water treatment plant off of Gumbridge near the YMCA.
Yes, ma'am, we did.
Yeah, was it a chlorine? Two chemicals had.
Two chemicals that don't agree with each other
Yeah,
accidentally got mixed
right.
together. So, but we were able to isolate it. We were able to evacuate what was affected. Obviously, it did not affect anything to do with
Right.
the water. That's a well-designed building with well-designed functions. So it was able to be isolated. So we
Very
just
good.
basically, fortunately, we were able to sit there and babysit it. So
Now, we don't have a lot of natural gas in this community yet.
mhm.
I think there's still plans and they're still working on it. They're still hoping for it. A lot of us have propane for our facilities because there's no natural gas available. But in Wilmington, natural gas was everywhere.
Mhm.
And the responses to natural gas issues was not daily, but a very routine occurrence for the fire department.
Yes, sir. We actually have a lot of natural gas infrastructure inside the city of Jacksonville, and we routinely get those calls.
Gas lines cut.
It's safe. It's just like electricity. It's safe to a point, but
Yeah.
gasoline, all that stuff is safe to a point.
Yeah, ask the guy on
But,
the electric chair how safe it is.
Yes, sir. But we use it every day. It's a convenience of life. But we have our guidebooks. We have our isolation distances. Fortunately, natural gas, they put that mercaptan in it, so you smell it. You know it's around if it is
Yep.
leaking. So it's a very obnoxious smell. Kind of smells like rotten eggs.
Yep.
And it's lighter than air, so it's designed to go up and dissipate. If we have those type of
But if
calls,
it's in a confined area,
yes, sir.
that's a problem.
Yes, sir. And we get those calls too, but we have monitors
Mhm.
that we carry on our engines.
Oh, good.
And we're trained to use them so we can go in and sniff those things out.
Propane tanks also have, if they get low on
Mhm.
fuel, I think you have that obnoxious odor that comes out too, right?
Yes, sir. It'll leak out. And then if they overfill them too as
Yeah.
well, they'll.
See,
they'll
that's
off-
exactly
that's good
why
to
I'm going
know.
back to wood.
Because I have gas and I have the propane tank for my
Right.
gas.
Well, propane
fireplace.
seems to be
I
fairly
do
safe.
too, but
You
it
don't,
scares
I
me.
don't know of a lot of calls that it originated with the propane. It may have, the propane has a problem if there's a
Mhm.
big fire in the house.
It's lighter than air, so it'll settle.
Yeah.
But most people have those tanks outside of their
Mine's
house.
mine's
outside,
outside.
So
But then when you guys respond to fire, there are all sorts of scenarios out there. Some misconceptions. You've got the propane tanks. You got to get rid of the electricity of the house right up front, right?
yes, sir.
And then you got to get rid of propane tanks. You turn those things off, I presume. Don't cut the lines because they're still spewing fuel.
We try to move them too.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
they can get hot and they can
Mhm.
go boom boom.
Yes.
A lot of people have ammo. Some of it may be 100 rounds. Some of them may 5,000 rounds.
hmm
Yeah.
There are a lot of misconceptions about bullets getting heated up and going off.
Mhm.
Yes, they can go foof, 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 but they don't go off with the same velocity they do when they're propelled.
They need to
Well,
kind of be
still.
confined and need a direction.
That's right.
So,
Yeah.
So it's not like you got something traveling at 2,000 feet per second popping out of a house. It's because there's a house fire, right?
Right. We actually had a house fire. Today's Thursday, Tuesday
Yes.
night, and we had ammunition. It's
Wow.
something that we're aware of, and we take the proper precautions.
Mhm.
But
How
we,
do you? I mean, it's just
we
like
just expect
It doesn't explode.
we were
right.
listening to the scanner for the fire in Los Angeles. They had several houses that had a lot of ammo in it, and so they had to back away from those houses. So what do you do with you come upon a residence
They'll run out of ammo sooner
that
or later.
that have ammo stored in there?
We just take it on a case by case basis. In those situations, the best thing to do sometimes is just go ahead and solve the problem. If we go ahead and put the fire out, we can take care of the rest of
Correct.
it. So, but
I mean, do you have to worry about the ammo going off while you're out there putting out the fire?
yes, ma'am, it's a concern. I
'Cause
mean,
I just
we'll
gotta
still
put
go
my
into
house on
houses
the
where it's
list.
still energized. We can't
Right.
always get the electricity cut
Right.
off. And even if we think we cut it off,
No, yeah.
it may not be off. So we call in our partners for that too as well. Piedmont Natural Gas will respond. Jones Onslow, Progress Energy, when we call, they actually pull the meters to make sure that the power is off.
Mhm.
So we call in our partners too as well to help in those situations, to help mitigate as many of those hazards as possible. So we use the police department as well, their knowledge when it comes to ammunition,
Right.
firearms,
Sure.
and that kind of stuff as well too. So
Well, I'm glad you
Interesting.
guys are here.
Mhm.
And also from the ham radio community, we do appreciate your assistance
Yes.
in setting up downtown.
yes, sir, that's been a wonderful partnership so
It's
far.
it's going to be a great.
Yes.
Mhm.
We've had a couple of trial runs to make sure things are working. Things are working.
So,
So,
well, that's wonderful. And we're good hosts.
You're a great host. You're
Good.
you're wonderful down there. We got a beautiful little room at City Hall.
Yes.
See, a lot of folks don't know. They're now will be the third EOC. The
Mhm.
sheriff's office is going to have they're moving one out to another location because
Okay.
they're going to have a third EOC going too.
Out there at the training center.
But they've got one, the primary one
Mhm.
over there in the Commons area where 911 is. They've got an EOC there. Then Jacksonville PD's got its own EOC.
Mhm. Yes, sir. The city right there in our Center for Public Safety.
So if everything goes to pot, kind of like it did sort of maybe during Hurricane Florence,
Mhm.
as far as communications were concerned, sometimes comms get interfered with. And when they do, you can't talk to people. Wait, what's going on here? So
Right.
they're working out. So you're self-contained as well.
Yes, sir.
So that's the good thing.
And redundancy is a good thing.
Back it up, back up, or back up.
Yes, sir. So,
One is not enough, and two is just barely enough.
yes, sir. So,
So breaking it down, even if you don't have any gas coming into your house, like for a fireplace, for an oven stove, for a hot water tank, if you're in the market to go out and buy a new alarm, would you buy the combo? Would you buy the dual?
yeah,
Triple,
if you have a concern for it, like I said, automobiles still, cause carbon monoxide, your grills and that kind of stuff too. Things that are outside.
Right.
If it makes you feel better, go ahead and spend the extra money.
And it's really not that much extra because I paid like $35 for the last one that I just bought, which is the 10-year lithium battery.
So that's $3.50 a year.
But
Okay,
yeah,
got it.
but yet when I was looking at the dual alarms just this past week, they're running $38. So I could have just bought one that had everything.
Mhm.
So,
I'd definitely be testing mine.
Location, putting these things. Do you guys assist on if we ask you to say where should we put them? I got these little suckers. Look at my house and tell me where to put them.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Anywhere in the city, we'll be glad to come out. and
Because
help you
we've
with
got,
this.
for instance, here we've got it's an open area.
Mhm.
It's got the kitchen. It's just got a dining room.
Mhm.
There's nothing in between them.
Mhm. So, I mean, I wouldn't have it necessarily
Right.
right in the kitchen because you'll get a lot of those.
Oh, yeah.
Not at the
No.
stove.
Right.
You know
right.
you're going to get that.
You're going to get
some
those
one
triggers.
time because Kelly's going to burn the pancakes.
I'm telling, I know Kelly didn't
She's
burn
gonna
the
burn the bacon,
pancakes.
so-
Like,
Well, no,
Lee's
yeah,
burning the
Lee's
bacon.
going to burn the bacon.
Kelly, we're going to Golden Corral for breakfast.
I'm
The
telling
only thing I burned was a pot of chili one time.
Well, I do have a question. So, in respect, Rayford just triggered a thought. Should bedrooms, should the detectors be put on the inside of the door or on the outside of the bedroom door?
I would have one in every bedroom.
Okay.
If
yeah,
possible.
Okay.
You know, if not, I would have it in the hallway. Because
I
I know
have one
these
in my hallway.
I know
Right, yeah.
these things cost money. So everybody has
Well,
a budget.
I don't think you can put a. If you can go,
There's no
buy
price on sale.
Starbucks every day
Right.
for a week. You done pay for it. You know what I mean? You can afford to buy
No, it's
smoke
just like
detectors.
my house. I have a
You're putting it
hallway.
into perspective. You're
Yeah,
right.
I mean,
right?
I have a hallway and 4 doors leading into 3 bedrooms and the
Same.
bathroom. So if you just put one right there in the middle of the hallway, it should pretty
I've got
much,
one in my
'cause it's not
hallway.
that long.
in the master
Right.
bedroom has one, but it's
Smoke
got
goes
me
up if
thinking.
it catches fire in the bedroom.
Right.
And then you've got a header overhead that it's going to have to build up smoke down to about 1.5 feet before it comes dribbling out to the hallway. Just to let you
Well,
know.
I might
was
put one
to
in
put
While
the
the
one-
fire is burning inside.
They would be less than 10 feet away from each other, is what I'm saying.
And you don't want them in corners
Right.
or up against the wall too, as well, because there'll actually be kind of a little void there. As the
What do you mean
smoke-
up against the wall?
Yeah. What does that mean?
I would have it over here where this light fixture is. I wouldn't put it
Oh,
right up against the
not
wall.
on the wall itself.
Oh crap! Mine's on the wall in
Oh,
my
mine-
upstairs.
Oh, no, you
hall.
could have it on the wall. I'm just saying I
Uh-huh.
wouldn't have it in the corners, near the corners where the
Oh no,
railroad
no,
ceilings
mine's
meet.
just like if this is a wall like this.
Oh,
yes, ma'am, that's
there.
fine. You just don't want it
in a
up.
corner.
Oh, I see
it
what you're
creates a
saying.
cavity
Yeah.
up there.
I agree
of
with
clean
that.
air.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No,
thank
no,
you for
that's
helping
that-
clear that up.
No,
Well,
that
you
makes
know,
sense.
interesting story. One time when my mom was alive and she was living over in Meadow Oaks, and she was cooking something, created a lot of smoke,
Mhm.
set off the alarm, which set off a life alert, sent the fire department. So they went in there and they put this huge fan right there at her door to suck the smoke out.
Mhm.
But in the meantime, enough smoke had gone into the closet that has the slats, you know.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
It's not a solid, it's all slats. Well, smoke had gotten up in there and was trapped up in there. So the fire department left, and like 30 minutes later, they get another call
Mhm.
because of the smoke coming back out of the closet.
Oh wow!
I was like, good Lord.
We try to walk through and make
Yes.
sure that everything is clear. And speaking of lithium batteries, we're actually
Mhm.
taking advantage of that technology at the fire department. Our positive pressure fans that we use to clear the
Right.
smoke were actually gas-fired engines.
Wow.
So
Really?
you're blowing some exhaust inside the building. So we're actually getting
Yeah.
battery-operated fans.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
I
and
think that's kind of what happened or whatever with hers.
So-
But I know soon I got home, got a call again. You got to
But,
come back. One more question is, does the fire department still offer businesses? There's, you know, you have some federal buildings around here, and then you have big businesses that are mandated to do fire drills at least once a year. Do you still provide the service of going and observing and giving your, you know, opinion
helping
on
with
how they
those,
did? Yes.
evacuation plans. Yes,
Right.
ma'am. We'll be glad to go help anybody with whatever they need. If it's an
Okay.
evacuation plans, fire drills,
So if you've
We-
got a big business like that, you know,
Yeah,
you
why
should
not?
be conducting those fire drills.
we actually work with people helping develop their emergency operation
we used to
plans
get,
for these
um,
big facilities.
Rusty Reed, when he was the fire marshal, I always called him Rusty. We used to have him come in and observe ours at the post office when we did them.
Mhm.
And most of the time they came out good, except for the time that one carrier who was wearing headphones and did not hear the signal to evacuate was in the bathroom.
Mm.
And so we're in there checking they all clear, and here he comes out of the bathroom. Immediate flunk. And we
Well, that's
failed
good,
that
you
way.
know, to know who you
Yes.
have in your building. You
Yes.
kind of, that's why we teach it in elementary school. You have that
Right.
common meeting point, so
Yeah.
you can account for everybody.
We ended
that's
up
inside
appointing
that.
several people to be accountable for Woody. So,
One guy. Yeah.
one guy, yes.
The your exhaust fans in the old Jacksonville PD
Mhm.
when it was attached to the fire department, the
Mhm.
city hall, and all of that sort of good stuff. Dispatch was right there, right?
Mhm. Yes, sir.
There was a little booking room right attached,
Mhm.
right beside it, and then inside that were lockers for some of the officers.
Mhm.
Didn't have enough for everybody, even though there were only 20 cops at the time. Somebody had put a tear gas grenade up in his locker.
Oh,
Oh, gosh.
He'd seized it from somebody on the
Mhm.
streets, you know,
That's not
and he
good.
put it up there as evidence. Didn't have an evidence room. Everybody kept their own. Opened the door, it rolled out, and of course it hit the concrete floor. And you know what happens then? No. Filled up City Hall, the police department,
Oh, my
the fire
gosh.
department. The fire department had to come to the rescue.
hmm
They brought in the exhaust fans because the dispatch was at the police station,
Mhm.
and he has a gas mask trying to dispatch cars and answer the phone. You know how good that sounded?
We deal with them all the time. It's tough to hear somebody talking to
Yeah,
those
you
masks.
got that right. So,
Yes,
but
sir.
anyway, that's you put gas. You had those extraction pads all over the place, and everybody was laughing.
So, yes, sir.
We had a new policy. We don't store things like that.
No more tear gas.
No. So anyway, oh well.
Hey, buddy.
Gee, we appreciate you coming in.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you having me on, Mr. Brown.
It's a pleasure. We, in this kind of stuff, and my name is not Mr. I don't know who knew who it is, but anyway, we do appreciate you coming in and helping out. This is information.
Yeah,
This
sir.
is what we want to do.
information.
It's not just chit chat. Sometimes it evolves into chit chat, but it's to get a point across.
Yes,
I
sir.
will
That's
be
what
going
we
to
do.
get my new ones.
And I hope some people learn something. I
Yes.
have.
I have too. It's always good to have the fire department in here because I learn something new every time you come in.
Well, good. And like I said, we're here to help. It's not just in
Yes.
emergency situations. We'll be glad to help you with.
Okay, now there's amateur radio set up over there, and I've got them in my vehicle. I got another one up here, and I've got portables all over everywhere. So what we got to do is get you a license.
A amateur radio license.
It's
Oh.
easy to do. She's going to take the test.
Oh, okay.
I've
And
been
it's
studying,
it's
and
an
some of the questions
it's
I'm
an
like,
easy
what?
study course.
Yes.
If you get a firefighters, this is chump change. 1 week you got it. You've
Okay.
got the basic of which you can get on all of the repeaters around town
Mm-hmm.
and be able to talk to everybody.
He's got me
Okay.
doing that and the weather spotter course.
Oh, okay. So,
So
You know,
we're
so
going to be
the
so
more the
knowledgeable
merrier.
over here.
okay.
So
Yeah.
Yeah. If you give me the information, yes, sir.
I
I'll
will
look in.
get you the information.
Yes, sir. Be
Yeah,
glad
it's
to.
very interesting. It's been interesting learning about ohms and beacons.
That is probably the for the technician class, which will allow you to operate all this stuff. That is probably the most 1 or 2 questions on a 35 question test that you will get.
So,
Yeah, well, some of the questions I'm like, what?
Most of them are common sense.
And
Process
some of them are.
elimination, and
Right. And I've learned the very first one that I pick, I think is right. And I end up picking the other one. It was always the first one. So it's just.
yeah, usually go with your
it's-
first answer.
Yeah, go
so.
with your first instinct.
And
Right,
I
but,
sent you the formulas for Ohm's law, so you know how to do it.
I didn't get that. Ohm's law?
Ohm's law.
Oh, no, I must have missed that. I'll go back and take a look.
She
but-
ignores some things.
Yeah.
Okay. But thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
It
you
was
for
a
having me.
pleasure
Brian, did I
having
call you
you.
Brian? I did, didn't I?
Oh, man.
Golly,
Anytime
that
you
goes
have
back-
something that comes up too and you want us to put it out there for
Yeah,
you to
absolutely.
let us know.
Just ring us
Yes,
up.
ma'am.
And
Yes, ma'am.
we'll be
Thank you.
glad to put it
Yes, ma'am.
out there. And I will say that the bulldog in front of your fire department is better than JPD's.
Thank you so much. And
Just had to say that.
can I say a little bit of something about Captain Jack?
Yes,
Absolutely.
please. I love
Um,
Captain Jack.
That was actually a combination with Fire Marshal Kelly, our
Yes.
firefighters, and the school children.
Oh,
The
wow.
vocational school out there too, as well.
Oh, yeah.
They came up with that mascot. They came up with the name, and they're
That's
actually
the little
making coloring books for fire
firehouse.
safety.
Oh,
Really?
that,
wow.
use Captain Jack. So we passed those out too as well. So it's been an
That's
excellent
awesome.
partnership. There's some ownership with everybody. So it's been really neat. We have people stop by all the time. I want to take pictures with Captain
Yeah,
Jack. So.
I did a big story on all the bulldogs, and
Our bulldogs look a lot better than Newbert's Bears. I will tell you that.
Yes,
Yep.
but the fire department.
Fire
when
department, you got a cool one right out front there. I like it.
I saw the police department, I was like, it's just got a black uniform. Ugh. And then I walked around and saw yours, and I was like, there you go.
Yeah,
He's got the little firehouse, everything. I mean, they went all out.
Yeah, we even got little flags for him. He changes his flags on the seasons and that kind of
Oh,
stuff.
I
too, as
never
well.
noticed
Excellent.
that.
Excellent.
It's pretty
All
cool.
right, Chief. Thank you, sir. Chief, we appreciate
Thank you
it.
so
Thank you, Ms. Brown.
much.
You
Sorry.
you get over it.
Yeah, excellent.
I'll call him
excellent.
Edward. I'll call him Brian again.
Call him
He'll get over
T.
it. He'll get over it. All right, T.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Have a good one.
You too, yes, sir.
Okay. That's interesting information. It's
Oh
good
my gosh, the
information.
best information.
Golly, I
I know where I'm going to today to get my new alarms.
and you
And
know
we'll
what?
get the
You know
door.
what they say up in New York? If you're because sometimes calling and hollering, you need help from a police officer. Sometimes it goes unheeded right away. So people there for quite a while were saying, if they had a problem, they needed an emergency, they said, fire, I got a fire here. They said it was nothing like seeing a bunch of guys running with axes.
You want to say that
And
while
they-
he's still
and they
here?
always came.
Good Lord have mercy. You're going to make those comments while he's still
That
here
was
in the
in New
room.
York. Yeah. Well, that's what they used to do. They called the fire department.
That's New York.
Yeah, New York.
Good Lord. I know.
But again, a bunch of guys come up with those blaring sirens, and they got everybody shows up with a fire axe. Bad guys are going to get out of the way.
Yes,
Think
true.
about it.
That's true. Well, very interesting information. I learned a lot, and
It's a good find. Good
yeah,
having him.
I'm really considering taking the gas logs out of my fireplace and just burning wood, because I always have this fear that somehow I'm going to spring a leak in the line or something, blow up my house.
It's not going to happen.
I know it's not going to happen, but it's still. And then you've got to
As long as you have them checked, and as long as you've got somebody legitimate, and we've got a great.
Great Gas came out.
The word great. We got a great company here, Great Gas, and
they came out last year and took care of my issue. They were so nice,
and they're not buying commercials here, guys. So that's
they came out for safety reasons.
Just a fact of life.
Yes.
Okay.
And they did a great job.
Marine outlook for today. Small craft advisory remains in effect through tonight. Northwesterly winds 20 to 25 knots, diminishing to 15 to 20 in the afternoon. Gusts up to 30. Seas 3 to 5 feet, 2 to 3 near shore, except you're probably not going to be able to get out there to where the seas are only 2 to 3 feet because of the inlet. Sounds and rivers rough, diminishing to choppy in the afternoon. Tomorrow, northerly winds 10 to 15, becoming northwesterly 5 to 10 in the afternoon, 2 to 3 footers near shore. Seas around 2 feet in the morning, then 1 footers in the afternoon. Tomorrow looking good, y'all. Sounds and rivers a moderate chop, diminishing to a light chop in the afternoon. Do it tomorrow. Because Saturday, westerly winds, that front thing's going to come in here. That nasty weather is going to come in Friday night. It's going to be sloppy on Saturday. Westerly winds Saturday, 20 to 25 knots, gust to 40 knots. Ooh. Seas 5 to 7 feet, building to 6 to 9 in the afternoon near shore. Seas 4 to 6 feet. Don't worry about it. You can't get there anyway. Sounds and rivers rough.
Yes, okay. Today, sunny with a high near 40, northwest wind 9 to 14 miles per hour with gusts as high as 22. Tonight, clear with a low around 19. It was cold last night, too.
No.
Friday, increasing clouds with a high near 43. Friday night, freezing rain and sleet likely, possibly mixed with snow before 1 a.m., then turning to rain.
Yeah, go to sleep. You'll wake up,
mixed
it'll be
with
rain.
some sleet, low
It'll
around 30. Saturday, a chance of showers mainly before 10 a.m. with a high of 43.
Okay.
That's
It won't last.
No. It's like listening to different meteorologists and listening to the TV guys and all that. They keep saying things just keep shifting a little bit here, a little bit there.
It's the weather, y'all. It's the weather.
Exactly. Just like hurricanes, you can't predict exactly what they're going to do until they get here.
They used to be named after women. Deputies over in Lenore County have arrested a couple of people, young people. They're behind bars after 75 pounds of marijuana was found at a home in LaGrange.
Wow.
Oh, my. The Lenore Sheriff's Office says a drug investigation by its Street Crimes and Rapid Response and Narcotics Unit led to the arrest of 25-year-old Michael Goodman and 23-year-old Alexis Johnson, both of LaGrange.
Right.
They had help from the Craven County Sheriff's Office. Those guys are pretty intense about their drug work. And the Havelock Police Department, the Wayne County Sheriff's Office, all helped in this investigation. They got a search warrant for the home just outside of Kinston.
Very good.
While searching that home, deputies say more than 75 pounds of marijuana, along with materials to distribute, process, and package the drugs were found. Y'all are in trouble, you young people. You better be having a come to Jesus meeting with the investigators and tell them where you got that 75 pounds and who were you working for. Deputies say evidence was found on the scene that linked Goodman and Johnson as the people that were involved. Goodman arrested at the home and charged with 2 felony counts of trafficking marijuana, a felony count of conspiracy to traffic marijuana, a felony count of possession with intent to sell, deliver Schedule 6 marijuana, a felony count of possession of marijuana, a felony count of maintaining a vehicle or dwelling for the purpose of marijuana or distributing drugs, a misdemeanor count of possession of drug paraphernalia. Deputy Say Johnson was arrested during a traffic stop where she was given the same charges. She was stopped on the highway.
Wow.
The two were taken to the Lenore County Jail. No bond holds due to being out of jail on pretrial release on previous criminal charges. They were out on bond.
Wow. That then that's been
Now
a
they're
big,
in jail under no bond.
that's been a big conversation with us over the
Yes, it has been.
ages here, talking about these people that are out on bond that for committing some type of
And then they
serious
do
crime.
more while they're out.
Exactly.
And what do you think is going to happen?
It's like the judge says, "Okay, I'm gonna let you out on bond, but behave.
Yeah.
Make sure you're good.
And hope for world
Don't
peace.
do anything you shouldn't do. Eat your veggies." I mean, seriously. I've got something for you here out of Greenville, North Carolina, that has just come up recently.
The flag.
Tonight, the Greenville City Council will meet to consider a request from Camping World. You're familiar with Camping World?
The
Big company. To change an ordinance that will allow them to install a large American flag. Now, the store wants to display a 3,200 square foot American flag to show its support of our country. I tell you, I have been by many of the Camping World in traveling over the years. Those big,
They're
beautiful flags. Exactly. I think
Okay.
out there on I-85, you pass one, and it's beautiful.
Here's the problem. A lot of counties, a lot of towns have ordinances about
Right.
advertising, the size of your signs,
Right.
the size of anything. Now, we got a sign right here.
That's 4 by 6.
When
Too. Yeah.
it's 24 square feet. When we
Yes.
display it outside, we can do so legitimately
That's right.
but it is an advertising sign. It's a promotional sign. It's
That
an
is,
advertising
but
sign.
is the American flag?
Is the American flag an advertising sign?
I would say no. It's showing your patriotism. It's
Does
a
it require a 3,200 square foot size flag to show your Americanism, your patriotism?
I say, why not?
Okay.
like
There
it.
are those that dispute that.
Right.
If you
exactly.
can fly that flag, why can't I fly this one and put a 3,200 square foot one out there besides the
I
price of it?
understand exactly what you're saying, but I think the United States flag should fall under a different category to itself. But I do understand what you're saying. You have ordinances,
Mhm.
and this is not, and right now they have not installed this yet. They're talking about 130-foot tall pole to accommodate the flag. 13 feet of it would be dug into the ground to ensure stability. They also have an electric crank on it, like in case of an emergency, bad, weather, they can hit this button and bring it down and put it away.
Mhm.
But and I think it's glorious. I think it's grand. I do understand. Now the ordinance in Greenville does not allow this at this time,
Yep.
but they're meeting tonight to make an exception, to vote whether or not they're going
Okay,
to.
I want to vote them to vote on making an exception for me.
Right.
What would I do then?
Right. Well, the Greenville Council, members of the Greenville Council said that setting these guidelines to include flag could lead to more unsafe displays in the future that don't reflect patriotic values.
Well,
just
how
like
about
what
if
you
I-
said, a symbol,
How about
yes.
if I have this flag, a 30 by, what size was it? 30 by 40?
130-foot flag.
32 square-
32 square, 3,200 square feet.
3,200 square foot flag. I want to get one. And over here in this corner, I want to put a replica of the U.S. flag.
Yeah.
American Stars and Stripes. I want to put it
Right.
on here, but I got all this other stuff around it. How does that fit in?
Well, it's an ordinance against.
I'm just asking questions,
yeah.
things that people need to consider before you
Yes.
start saying, yes, go for it.
Well, the camping worlds that I have seen, which not been a lot, just a few, they usually have their flag in an area that's not blocking views. It's not in a busy area. It's like on the outset of their
Okay, now
business.
let's do the other thing.
All right.
How big is that pole? I know it's 130 feet tall, but
Right.
it's 13 feet in the ground. I don't
Right.
care how deep it is in the ground. How substantial is the pole? Could it hurt people when a sudden wind comes up of 100 miles per hour or a tornado comes through? Tornadoes don't have a lot of warning. To crank it down.
I wouldn't think
It's,
that.
it's got to be self-supporting. You're not going to have guy wires on it.
True.
130 feet straight up in the air is a substantial structure.
Well, it would be 13 from 130, 117 feet up in the air.
Whatever it is.
Still, that's not going to make much difference. But
So there's
never
a
heard
lot
of-
that needs to be discussed when they do
Yes.
something like this. Damage from it if it
Mhm.
falls. sudden wind comes up, and even if it blows the flag loose on one corner,
Right.
that's a lot of cloth to be slapping around on
Yes.
the ground.
Well, I would imagine that they do everything they can to make it secure and safe because
Yeah,
that's
I'm
like
sure
that
they
big,
do.
putting a power wrench on it and a winch on it in order to
So when
bring
the
it
power
down
goes
in a
out
hurry.
and on the
Well, then you're going to have to,
yeah, good luck.
just like the fishermen on the boat, instead of using those rules, that's cheating to me. You know, you go out deep sea fishing and they've got those little motors that reel in your line for you instead of bringing it
I
in.
play
there.
the devil's advocate, and I hope that somebody on the city council up there will, before they do this, building inspectors, planning folks, people need to take in consideration any possibility that could happen, any possible possibility, not just likelies, but any. Obviously, the end of the earth, you don't want to plan for that. But there's not a whole lot of use doing that. But if you're things that could happen here, is this thing built to handle it? That's what I would be concerned about that more
I've
than the
never heard
advertising part.
stories of a pole coming down like that. Could have it happened? Yeah,
I've seen
but-
flagpoles, regular flagpoles come down.
Well, those, like my flagpole.
No, I'm not talking about your flagpole. I'm
No, but-
talking about government flagpoles coming down during hurricanes.
I've never seen that. I've seen
have.
tornadoes take down poles.
Mhm.
I've seen like the what is it? What is it they have out in Texas with those what are those things called? Darn. They're out there, they're real tall and they have the fan on them to produce energy. The
Windmills.
yes. I haven't had breakfast yet.
I was letting you
Windmills.
burn on that one.
Well, I saw an actual tornado just take it when it passed through
Mhm.
and just bend the blades right down,
Remember
But
the big 10-foot dishes that people have for satellites?
I used to have one, That's back
we
when
had
it first came
one
out.
roll across the parking lot at the TV
What?
station during the hurricane.
We had the great big one out there in our backyard by the pool,
Mhm.
and you hit a button inside and it changes to different satellites,
Uh-huh.
signals and stuff. That was back in the day.
Mhm.
Yeah, but the windmills. I could think of windmills.
Okay, let's see. What have we got cooking? Oh, those fires are still out there. And Trump, I guess, went kind of maybe dumb again. I got to read that. I
Are
heard
you talking
were
about-
talking a little bit about his comments?
Yes.
He was blaming Newsom for the fires
Right.
or whatever. I can blame Governor Newsom for a lot of things, and maybe he's guilty of a lot of things. I don't know, but apparently Trump said something about
I thought that was a little much, in my opinion.
yeah, and something about not letting water come down
And fill out the
to fill up the levees, the reservoirs, or
Yes.
whatever. And now they're out of water, and they did it to protect a tiny little fish, according to Trump.
Yes. And
Smelt. For the sake of a smelt,
Mhm.
they have no water, he said.
Trump had brought that up a couple years ago about, the not let the water flow down and filling up stuff because they were trying to protect the smelt.
Mhm.
So he brought it back up again, and he just flat out blamed Gavin Newsom, which he called different name, for the whole incident, the people losing their lives and losing their house.
Well, he said they didn't turn the pumps on, and he's blaming them for not turning the pumps on to pump the water down. Okay, Newsom's office has responded, said that because of the high water
Mhm.
demand, pump stations at lower elevations did not have enough pressure refill tanks at higher
Right.
elevations, and the ongoing fire hampered the ability of crews to access the pumps. I have no clue what I just read.
Well, you
or
have
what
to
it
remember
means.
they've been in a drought, a terrible drought
Yeah.
for quite a while
Re-
too. So
Can't control that.
no,
The office also added that the city used water tenders to supply water, which is a common tactic in wildland firefighting. I guess those are big trucks and big tanker planes and big scoops for helicopters use to dip down into reservoirs and pick up water and dump it.
right.
Problem is, anything you dump from the air when you got heavy winds, it's just going to fly everywhere. You don't
That's
know.
right.
You got to be flying really low.
They finally got the helicopters out there last night dumping water.
Yeah.
Finally.
So it has to be, but they can't. You got to be careful.
There's a lot to drop. Maybe there's a lot of land
We've
out
seen
there.
a lot of aircraft go down during while they're fighting fires, and that's always a bad thing.
I know. I was watching that. Oh, just brought to mind, starting this morning at 9:30, the funeral services start
Yep.
for 39 President Jimmy Carter. And yesterday, was it yesterday or the day before, when they arrived in the Capitol, it was on Tuesday, and they were taking his casket up to the rotunda.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of steps going up into that rotunda.
Yeah.
Glad
they're not icy.
It makes me so nervous to watch them going up all those stairs. What if somebody tripped? Just what if, Rayford?
It could happen.
It makes me so nervous until they get in there and actually set the casket down on the stand. But I'm just like, please don't trip. Please don't trip. It's scary.
Okay. Okay, who do we have here as we wind down? Good morning, you're live and local. Can I help you?
Hey, it's Charlie. I was reading your chat room, and I guess one of you guys asked me a question about where did I post the link.
I didn't see the link. The link's not on here.
You guys, when I call into your show, you're basically, most of you say 10% of my calls are really good. Trust me, this is a brilliant link that I'm leaving you.
Which did you put it on YouTube or Facebook?
I don't see the link anywhere. Just repost it.
I posted it on YouTube. He breaks it down so eloquently.
Okay.
Lee's looking for it, so she's trying to find it.
It's not on in the comments. That's what I was saying. I didn't see your link.
So I guess where I comment, it probably doesn't come through on your end. Can I very slowly, without wasting your time? I'm just going to give you the Twitter handle for this person.
Okay.
Okay. So it's at the little @ sign.
Right.
Eric. Capital EERIC.
Okay.
The next word is capital A, BBENANTE. You want to repeat that back to me?
At Eric, EERIC, capital A, Bravo, Echo, November, Alpha, November, Tango, Echo.
Okay, so if you go to his Twitter page, the second link that he posted, it's already got 8 million views. In 9 hours, there's 8 million views.
Okay, we'll take a look at it.
Have a field day.
All right.
Well, no, okay. I'm not going to. Can you put me on hold just to make sure that you guys have this link?
I'm looking it up now.
It's going to take us a minute or so to get it, but if that's the right name, we will have it up there shortly.
Yeah, I've got him.
All right, she's got it.
There's 8 million views in the last 9 hours. It's 5 minutes long. You got to play this. You're going to be blown away by how I'm not going to say anything else.
Okay, I just followed him, so I've got him.
All right, we got him. Thank you.
All right.
Okay, we get that up there, and you guys put it on Facebook as well, if you would, please.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I'll put it up there.
Yeah, because we'll get more hits on Facebook. But we will take that. We will do it. Take a look at it. All right, what else we got cooking here? Biden, I guess, has decided that Ukraine needs some help. $500 million Ukraine security package. He's approved that.
I don't know. Does it say anything about the money that was just sent to Ukraine?
I'm looking.
Does it say anything about Los Angeles sending fire equipment to Ukraine recently?
Los Angeles did?
Yes.
Great.
That's what I heard. What did I say? Did I say Los Angeles?
You said Los Angeles.
Okay, good.
Okay, $500 million, and that's an additional $500 million of military aid to Ukraine. Okay.
Yes, I have to look that up and get the information on that.
Austin is involved in that. He's been meeting with Ukraine's president to work that out. So I don't know. U.S. security assistance to Ukraine, missiles for fighter jets, support equipment for F-16s, armored bridging systems, small arms and ammunition, and other spare parts and communications equipment. It's funded by the Presidential Drawdown Authority, meaning the weapons will come from U.S. stockpiles, the stuff that we've got ready just in case we need it.
Well, here's
that will expedite their delivery to Ukraine. Oh, that's great. So we take some of our stuff that we've got just in case we need it. Okay.
Here we go.
And give it
Robert
to
F.
Ukraine.
Kennedy is being accused of felony election fraud
Oh, goody.
when he cast a ballot in the 2024 election. And this is according to Politico.
Mhm.
The complaint states that Kennedy voted by mail and his ballot was received by the Westchester County Board of Elections on November 2nd. The primary resident listed on the ballot was a home in Katana, an address about 45 minutes outside of New York City, which has been central to previous court challenges from the Democratic leaning groups, arguing Kennedy did not actually live there and should not be eligible to be on the ballot in the state where he ran as an independent candidate. These watchdog groups
Yeah.
will just
Whatever.
do anything they can to invent.
Apparently, another Wade. He's blasted the Democrats out there in California. He says they're setting up the firefighters to fail on this mess that they got going on.
Listening
Whoa.
to the scanner communications,
Uh-huh.
the disappointment and the agony in some of the voices, you can hear it, the frustration that they can't do anything. They're limited equipment, limited firefighters.
Yeah.
They have no water in some areas.
Well, how is this just something that is so unusual? I mean, they have wildfires every
Right.
year, basically. Some are worse than others. This one's abandoned. This is a really worser one.
Right.
So I mean, they've got their
It's
hands full.
horrible.
But how much can you plan for? How much? I don't know. Do you keep an extra 1,000 firefighters on standby? Do you pay them year round just in case a fire like this pops up, or what do you do?
Right.
I don't know what you do.
Well, this fire is also affecting television programming. Did you know that? The Choice Critics Awards that were supposed to be this coming Sunday night has been postponed to January
I don't
26th.
care.
Listen, and I know I'm watching this last night. And I'm like, really? And according to the Hollywood Reporter, shows like Grey's Anatomy, Suits LA,
Grey's Anatomy.
NCIS.
Grey's Anatomy.
The Price is
I
Right.
thought Grey's Anatomy had been over for years, hasn't it?
No, it's still on. The Jimmy Kimmel live show, which I
Oh, good.
care about Jimmy Kimmel. But anyway, all these are going to cease production effective today until these fires are out
They
because
haven't had
they're
any
in the
production
area.
going on for NCIS since Thanksgiving or before
Well,
Thanksgiving.
maybe they're getting ready
Since
to do some
last
more.
fall.
But I'm thinking, why are we even worried about that?
Is that your big problem?
Yeah, really.
There are other TV stations you can watch, or you can read a book. You know what?
That's
I've got
right,
plenty
read a
of them out
book.
here. I'm reading all the time.
We're going to read a book.
Read a book.
No, I agree with you.
You might find something that you really like to do.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
we will see you tomorrow. We've got in here. Oh, yes.
Oh, I can't wait till tomorrow.
Oh, we're going to nail him.
No, we're not going to
Oh,
nail
I'm going
him.
to get
Trevor,
him.
don't listen to
good.
this.
Trevor, hang on. Watch out, brother.
No, I mean,
Trevor Donnell from the
excuse me,
Oslo Sheriff's Office. He is the public information officer.
doing a superb job,
He
I
does
must
a great
say.
job. He's getting
Doing Instagram now.
cool stuff. I don't care about that part, but I
Hey, I want to
just-
tell you a
I
secret.
just wanted it in my email.
I want to tell you a secret I've
What?
noticed recently, and I'm not being critical, but since the sheriff's office has gone so social media, I kind of noticed that JPD is starting to pick up the pace.
Well, I've seen that for you quite a while.
No, they just like some of the things recently, and
Hmm.
I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, anyway, in addition to the news of the day, whatever's happening and what's going on, when you hear all those sirens and you see smoke and all that sort of
Right.
good stuff, and then out in the county somewhere, then Trevor's at the beck and call, so he will be putting out
Yes,
some
yeah.
kind of
Well,
information.
they're supposed to be starting a new system too, where you can get text, like a code red
yep,
text.
Yep. So
Sheriff's office.
we'll talk to
working
him
on
about that and
Yes.
talk to him about his days with the Jacksonville Daily News and with the
As
other newspapers
the
in the area.
editor of these newspapers,
Mhm.
and he's so young too, and to have such a great career,
Yeah, I know.
past
Hate him.
and present,
We need to whip him.
and he's the face behind the Daily News at the time. Nobody ever sees the editor.
No, why should
Y'all
they?
gonna be surprised.
Why should you?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll be back tomorrow
Right.
morning. The time is 7:00, and we'll be here from 7 until whenever we get tired tomorrow.
That's right.
It might be till 11:00.
Yeah.
It won't be. It's Friday.
Well, thanks to the
I
chief
gotta
for
go-
coming
I
out
gotta
today.
swim. Yeah,
That was really
Um,
good.
Chief Tallman, aka T. Tallman.
Right. Yes.
Long line of Tallmans from this area. So
And it has nothing to do with golfing.
that's good. I hit nothing that I have to chase. Don't want to. You're live and local, Real Talk, where we are on Facebook and on YouTube. And hopefully we're working on it. Just hang in there. We're working on it to expand our horizons. And we're always awake and never woke. Bye, y'all. Have a great rest of your day.